Assalamu alaikum bari ngoluk ngal kontong mo be dawada ani be watu watito National Bismillah na programo min kaso yang lokungolo kon ninyi yan temben sita civic education jamano bade malo Mustafa jamme membe sirin programo kon nanyin temben yo alal de maroto alfal min kataram fe lokungolo kon ninyi yan temben sita dol de nak bar dol bem fe bi inshallah ko chabe de ala bake kula mimbe dending be yala kula mi yalon ko sula ko lebije yo ndol ko mongol zafodi sokore ke dia wolo fangol d'accord wala na jama nga foko be nyi alfal be kiling bulala c'est dol fangol bula ni ngala ni jiberal sunyo konton kiling no bodeje inshallah sina dum kacha kon yo be bin kala follow sine ite kan no ha se bulene mo le nyo konton na mo kende
baraka bake Mustafa be lamor lal ni juber lal kontonna ani ko panelist Suleiman Dieng ani Salif Mane ka molbe bismillah programme o nyento ka akoyon ko isel lamoynin hakilola e kanal lamoynin jisola nka kumol minul fo jang kon dalta ka fo nyamin dro mbukana ka mo nakarto nya kan la ka moma koy to nya tano so kamala dro Mustafa ka lamoy la linjuber la bismillah programme ni ka microphone o murundika baraka ba
ene baraba ke Nuha so
jërëjëf Mustafa mang la nuyu di la gërëm di la santa ci ni nga dé hoste programme bi every week maa ngi nuyu Mr. Mane maa ngi nuyu Nuha ñen ñëpp ku nekk sa tour ak sa santa ak sa wàccuwaay ñi ñoo déglu tamit ñooy seetaan ñu ngi leen naan jërë ngeen jëf ñu ngi leen naan nuyu di leen santa si waxtu bi ngeen dee jël ñëw di ñu seetaan o di ñu déglu buga suñ réew rek moo ñu tax a jóg so loolu moo tax ñu ñëw teewe fii tey comme waxtaan bi nekkul ne ñoo leen gën a xam o ñoo leen gën a jàng ñoo leen gën a mocca xel waaye dañu nekk fii rek pour di fàttalante ku nekk di remind ku nekk ci issues yoo xam ne am na solo ci pour war a yóbbu suñ réew mi ci kanam so suñ fi waxee loo xam ne dalut seen xel o seddut seen xel ñu ngi jéggalu ngeen xam ne bugga réew mi moo tax ñu ñëw toog fi di wax waxuñ ko ngir anything waaye pour saxal digga bi rek ak xelalante jërë ngeen jëf
jërëjëf Sol brum sal se fanam bula inin la mo la ni jibera la ñoo konton mani
yo abaraka bake Mustafa abaraka bake Nuha abaraka bake Sol abaraka bake la mo lalu jibe anin jiber lalu be mo be kontonna mba afola alhamdulillah rabbil alamin bi mo sebitoti yo afalen kanta programme o fanan fe bi sebitulum kuma ko Sol ning Nuha ya fo nyamindro yimu kuma ko banda ba kacha dum nali ya kacha je na banda alka tujele den momo iba frid na nyame ni raso kono ni la moy banta ba kacala ifana sa frid no ite lafta frid na nyame wala important aning fana nim platform on kana jutila because they are both educational and current because ni ko educational modo kasi jambi programme be kekan ase kuma kuta moy anana mammi moy ase karanje wani fana funding kelu is a good platform pour funding kelu fana ni program sifal be kere yella moy because nka kudol share wo is coming from my experiences as adults really so ni tul fana be ndul jibe kan ndul be nyato it will be a good learning curve for them so wala baraka bake I hope in program of fana minimi como ko nuaya fo nyame ni molbe la moy lala e la moy ni hakilola andon se asake karambukoti yola baraka bake
ene baraba ke sal commune dal Dakar fo nyamen ni amoy komanko nyaton golle bije ni amoy forlal molle bije minni ke lamay ko mata bake pour ko kumba fala jang sataning mol sataning hakilola kana taning jusola e ñom bebe jang mollo mi alon ko hajitiyol la moyti mollo min alon dimbatiyol la moyti ni la do kollo rejen ko ñin civic education programme nga wuli ñin kamba pour kana kanyo konoto dia pour kana kanyo kalamtande pour kana kanyo karandi ngana ño koreñ ndanga demoni long salifi demoni long Suleimane demoni long Nuha demoni long ite min fanam be jibe kay demoni long ala ño kan nga jama basoto wulda wala kam su pulolom pour su niaje surtout ni tamata yaje kul katama nyamen because iko jama fo tubabu karanno fo mori karanno iko mo beti tala no karanno bar minni tata nal nata ala kata adol fran donolo mu alkan pour alayal ale min kanale na alayal mol kunindi nengal woko mata ba wala nan kombinala be sila janka wato ta lokun nimmol se deng ngake kacha dulat jam wokamala kacha dol ka fo jam modol asake kuti mi alonko amanta diale bake nakita moy baramati mawul wo kamba nena kacha kijan kula membe dending budgeto la kachala anen budgeto mut fenede mi alonko fewo fenning fanko e nyoma fewo fenning adama dingol la balu e nyoma akumada bake mansa kunda bukata no kodo ko and wo kodo mo be dembe kodo wala kataraje pour ay janjam mol tema equally foto ning wala kacha mata abe kumala bake pour nga nyoso hakilol abe kumala bake pour woyke koti mi ala bakela kulan kene maringolti wala yakende lokum tambila nga kacha ke jam imbe dending lokum tambila mimbo kan nga kacha ke mimbe dending budgetola modole kacha ko jam be honorable Madi Cisse expectane inshallah National Assembly member for Serekunda East ngamra East long or West aminala janne pour ka kafunke ba janne wo lafta ko commence la ne minna ko do ni fota diamol buka bay no sokore ka diawolo fongole da kono mbenyo hakil mandi la jandron kula mimbe dending kachal minni fota kumol minni fota katun last time itala mo wo fanna expert yan kunindi wala yan fahamde kula mimbe dending budgeto alata nyamen aning atalata nyamen ko jenkole ba ko kon kula bije mialon nakarolon kula bije mialon tilingo man soto je bare modol yelawo kuma kango jele ko ika mole bayindi akoko afata janne andum dol fanam bina sela nga fu janne wona nga fu momole koku fota jang akende ma nalla tam binala nga saya kanja koku fota jang yemole ata jam binala nga sen kam fo jang dol mom wuli jam pour kana chahar kense on natale pour kamol ko ne so den kombo nyama Nuha kol fotale itala sa fonon tolie mine moita mine fota aning muna mu itala jeroti woto Nuha
abaraka baka Mustafa wo kumo kuma ta bakere komi ya fanya min purkana ka senandiro ke kuwalla kumo de na fota mobe bukaje nyakilimo nyama modol saje anatra kuma kendo fa yafo modol saje ko imanyan no fala asatra do mari la jero lo wote mbete ku kilimo jeno la nyakilimo nyama ese taman sero ta men na wala nyenti ko video dole findita ngaaje mbin sambara nam pour que mol hakilo bulan ye bayole yitandi molla ni alon ko ni a jibe ndede biri nga jibe a ketante sanmulu ngol ti golden ko lalem bare ni modol ya jibe wol ka fa ko bluri wala modol ka fa ko no jamba kero lo andu nyimu bay kilingol den ka kilingol abe video ba ni a jibe momo ya jibe o mari ka different color leje compared to nyindo so kumo fana bole nyama ni ya kumo fo modo saje ko yemmen fo imanye iman kuma kende foje so pour ka kumo suti ande dro Mustafa comme biringa programme o nyin kajang yenyinin ka budgeto nyim pour ngana nim mole kacha ngaje nyamin anin mun kullel be budgeto nyim kono sina nga woyi tan ni molla yo ngamira Suleiman la nyinin karolam ko bare sabal ko budgeto nyim betata so wole mu futande wo kacha nyinto sabal la miro anin ay kumol minul la miro kanko niaje ako budgeto nyim betata ay mum pennel ko wallal minuti ko near total expenditure ta yake percentage ti on gross domestic product ka fumi GDP near 2023 la percentage wala siata 2024 la percentage so sabale mem ko wala nyinti ko minister do ku kendele kaje bawa fele total expenditure as a percentage of GDP abe talala in 2024 whereas in 2023 as a letter santo baka yo atela miro nyin dem wala but ndena tan ko I totally disagree wala nyin man song saballa ko mola ko budgeto nyim betea budgeto nyim mam betea budgeto nyim mankat yo nganyum fana fanna ko mo kono ko ni be analysis kala wala ni be yinkaro kala man ninkol ka fu me yinkaro dum malon banko fanna dol mandinkol wol ka fa nyaari la bar kiyankol ka fu me yinkaro don't analyze ni ba kala bu ka fen dan tan tombondro nyanta be jube la holistically because ni ma jube holistically inate la decision of base waka menkana la banje wala intellectual dishonesty yo tumando maybe modol yaaje wo nyamale mo danta yankumandi ka fa nyam fa bari ko men fa sabali ma e ma fofu yo bari nyimmol be kono mo nata soto je mela ko defon kawje la ko nam bento la woti ay diamono back andu ngay public speaking no jama kono diamono ba so ay yamar men na wala nyinti ko atela jero to man kasi fo woto bari bawo mo danda yankumandi ka fa ko nga sabal normal wala nga attaque le adum wo man kentela man kutode pour ka mo bayindi wala ka kuma fo mo mam yalon ka kuma ni sangara yo anata yamar men na wala nyindi ko ite fo ngale se kuma ni koyndi no to membe je wala nyinti ko mba mari konton namba je lamba tentla man jara nga to fo jam akan kacandi ku jamala andu ay meyi tan wala nyinti ko karannal minul be Gambia jamaabe je ika wole ke kanyo ata kanyo nyapin kan kanyo kuma kan jawola yo bari nini mola miro fatata ate dalilo mendi ni dafa nata isela dalilo me ya lonko asata mari la dalilo boyndi a tare ma mari kuma kan jaw so wolam dal Mustafa minul ye nkumandi ani minul man kumandi fana bawaske man na nomba soto bari ya muta ko ngasabal attaque lembe nyim ko endle mako aman kentela man kuto de kamo attaque ngamem fo wolam nyinti ko sabale budgeto nyin analyze nyamin anin silo manta bawo budgeto mi ya lonko agriculture Gambia bankola fankobe lori nga kam bakele tourism Gambia bankola fankobe lori nga kam bakele environment wala batinna lan na jata kendale sabati wala batinna lan dandangol fawol nyim al balal minul kake komi jiborol kadulal tinya ka fumen ko flood mbe tembo men to bita Mustafa kankam bale be Gambia o be dunta munela global warming lam ani environmental degradation so ñinul be mu kulle mini a lonkol fannal lenti fannal mini a lonko man sakunda nyantale ye kodo dundi je kaaje ko dinkiral ye yirwa to budgeto mi a lonko agricultural budgeto agriculture nyanta kodo min dépense la 2024 mi a jibe kodo min dépense 2023 yewotala dalasi billion kilin million kemefula to nin kumu jari 2024 ibe men dépense la wobe doyala by 1 billion 200 million dollars wo budgeto to nyinyano la ni nata tourism jibe tourism me a lonko banko la fanko ka tarakam bakele bawo ni luntangol minul kadu ka finti ini bantala banko kodole kana andu kodole sembo wartan na Gambia kodole akaw kodo men dundi banko kono ni nata fana wolu luntangol ka de kokol minul ke banko kan na business ol sembentu yande so bunda nyim fana nyanta kala bunda la timi alon ko man sa bunda ya sembentu yande wol fana la budgeto nyin 2024 ila budgeto en talata yo ngam Ministry of Environment fana fol wol fana la budgeto talata so banko la fanko be dinkiral minul kan men se banko la fanko yirwandi no ni minister wol la dépense o talata amanna finti ka fo mole en ko ni aje ngela dépense o talata ñin bari nga ñim ferol landi ferol mini ba tinna la ko ila dépense o talata nyaaw nya bari ñim bundal be le maro kala fanko la woto nte maaje ko o mose finti ka fo ko budgeto ñim beteyata so nte fana la yinkaro na analysis nga bes ñim kollel kan andun na fem fana je budgeto kono me alon ko namol be lafala le lafa nyala mi alon ko asembo warta ba hani kol minu ya alon ko sayin dem wol buka fenjo wolla man sakunda be namo lala wol kan wol be mu kullet mi alon ko abe do bal nim foiro lel batan la Gambia banko ka so woto kammala wo budget sifa mo man yan na lola ka ko budget woni mbedata so bari modol yaaje ko ngawo ko nyami mbe Sabally bayndi kanje mantra Sabally bayndi kanje Sabally mun na badi bum ko rek ndol mu kiyan ko lati badi bum kaja nala kiyan ka kebala so but bobe je nyaawo nya man Sabally bayndi andun te buka mo bayndi la fana mien mem foyla miro to nani ndela miro fara tan defana binala la nganna miro fo ndu itala miro ndebe mem fo la mbajela mbe fero kala la kayitandi molla ko itala o miro nyi amanke mira kende bawa ni ndela miro fara ta sabe tula mollel bulu Mustafa o molu wollel bina jibela ko ndella miro betata ba walla ko ita mari la miro betata so pour ka wodla ko ndi dronka itandi molla ko amanke ndela mankutoti pour ka bula mola wala pour ka kuma sangara fo moye fan lafta pour ka wolto ko ni Mustafa baraka ba
akuma bari ne wo fo modol sa fo bari fo fenna jakana ba wol ne wo fo ban muna ne wo fo Nuha
yalon ikoniye kuje kule ya sabu so tembo men na Sabally fintita ay finance minister jayi ay central bank ay wol doya bak ala safero nyinto ko wollel mantra do ko la yo bari ni be budgeto jayila budgeto jayi dro woni central bank man nyoso to kula bar dum banku Mustafa akatama simfulal yo banko buluba simo wala mu fiscal policy wala mu finance minister aninga ka fanko tamandi nyame banko mara simo wala monetary policy o monetary policy wala central bank la governor aninga la doku lalu ikanna kodo mara nyame yin simfulolu banku yaje duniya ko ne ka tama nyinnal mu fanna fulol timini a lonko aka banko la fanko mu yo nyin fanna fulol yenta doko kelale isimo se fo nyoko bari isimfanyal kana fo nyoko bar ni isimfanyal fota nyoko dron karawo karala dron ni buluba simo lan jurta dron abe tamo manendila ni mara simo lan jurta abe tamo manendila to ni bulba simo ni mara simo nyinul be nyanta tilinna la yetama andu nyindal mu simol timini ya lonko kacha nyanta tarle da mangol temale kaje ko be banko mol ma ko la nyambe yo bari ngamen korosi wala nyinti ko na fiscal policy atake nyaale nyama mi alon ko hana traye monetary policy ni ya regulate ya tamandi a nyama abu tamandi nyani manindi lale bawo muna be keri fiscal policy man sakunda la dépense o bollel kono man sakunda ka namol minul kaninga bollel kono man sakunda ka almanol minul namol kana bebo wollel kono yo nim man sakunda la dépense o man tala o kam men ko wala katinna ko marsandisol da ka la fale bawo inflation ni amoy dawda inflation kudan dannel ka sa ko kol kate munlelti wala nyinti ko central bank marasi wonin e ka lankango mel la don troka min central bank lafta pour ka kodo bondinan al hawa kono e ka fu miyen ko money in circulation min central bank lafta ka kodo tala bawo ni e banko je kodo central bank la kodo fintindi ka janjandi to ni o kodo nyim fintindi ka janjandi ni kodo siata baake dron o kamben ke wala katin nako kodi jamala katara al hawa kono e katara marchandise dantam bayindi kam ni o keta dron marchandise ol daka selele bawo mol kajele ko jula bal kajele ko kodo be siari mol bulle matu nganna femol dala fa hanni ngela fa mol ba sanala bawo kodo siata o satra the amount of money in circulation is very high so central bank kamben ko wala nyindi ko kana interest rate le nyinta ka selendi pour nyin kamala commercial bank solu isi la kono membe sata ndi central bank pour ka invest ibajela ko nin commercial bank yela kono bondi nan ka dundi central bank Mustafa wakati na la kono membe circulation kono akatalale so central bank kanyim ferol lelke pour ka kono withdraw them from circulation isi la interest rate nyin selendi ibajela ko commercial banks it's a kono nyinta ya invest into central bank pour se profit to no ni central bank ya ko kono mimbe bantala adamu do ya tale then yera interest rate dindi pour ka nyino discourage law investment nyinna commercial bank sol se law kono nyinta ka invest outside pour mol se loan staff commercial bank sol bu risade kono yepin nyinna mo monetary policies wala atina every 3 months the monetary policy committee of the central bank is a meeting osoto in the last meeting was August November, August, September, October, November. In November, kartam bila mentambita deng. Yela meeting no ke wala ina tela report of tintindi. Bankola panko belori bunda jumale. Yo Mustafa, sai ni ite mumot me alonko elafta tonyale sabatindila. Yin simfulol minu ya alonko wala mu bankola panko singolti. Ite killing jay no la killing doya. Ni be doyaro kala ibe bele doyara ni be jayro kala ibe bele jay
Rasai ni mo ma fala bari te nyin kol jele nga jabe nyamen fo palase nyin la ba go ko fo mo nene la ba go kono ba
well ndela jeroto Mustafa mo Sabally ay banko molu ay mol nene bak bawo ameta ka banko molu ko nyimman sakunda manke man sakunda Catherine yimman sakunda manke man sakunda sobeti keren kafo mollel mo sunyaro siata yimman sakunda kono ba banko mo jama ijikita mo Sabally anu alaw kumolu moliye tabawo ne kumo fo mol buke da tro maman to jube kumo nyin akalla moyle ikamen tukoma mol kawolto moy moliye menje wala nyinti ko to nyaadam nyin kumoti bawo ni ajube ko yabe kerim banko kam bakel yo bari wonmol minul bo man sakunda ko no wollel ka bunjamol lo wollel ka korda tan soto wollel ka korda lulu soto woto nyin ka sunyaro mem fo abe nyim man sakunda ko no mol jikitala say nana ta bo banko mol koto especially warol nin dobal Mustafa kana kalao man sakunda kan aka fo minilen ko keren kafo mollen woto mun nener baleti umu bonkoto baleti ay jiko tinyaaje bakel ndela jero mu wolati nin ayatara ko moliye allata la ko mutoñale ata fonga lata wala de woto mune ya tinna ay nyinke nin atara amanke place min wat so pour que la jabiro nyin sutiyandi ntengaaje ko Sabally apisal tale Sabally kundan ko len sanolel muwati andum fana na take badi bum koti fana apisal tale pisalo mi alon ko awarata bake anata la kafo kan kafo mi alon ka ta fon ko wol mu kera wallati ka suñaro abaraka ba
so
lafta min jabila je drong kuma dandan mi alon kom ya fo nyame mbela moy kanu iko ning ntelbe ning bijang nka kumo fo so a dependa audience nyinna minu ba fola ha Nuha min fo wala kinde ata Suleimani min fo so ndeta fonola ndena kuma kan wala kinde de tati bari nimbe kumo fola mbe jikila ko ngamin fo akende ata le okay nga so posting ke ko Gambia la politics sometimes akake sitcom niti comme la comedy nying sitcom comedy mol kanay ka kumol fo ka mol gelende ani osifa but in the actual sense nga min ko ngo UDP ning NPP mu 609 olti pour que bondi nyoto abe kole ala bake so comme ya fo nyameng Sabally at some point ako barola government mu keren ka foti bi anata join wo same barola government Ngamul remind ko dabo fanang anene afo. Baro will always be our baro. Come rain, come sunshine. But after another kakuma dolfo baro ye mi alonko is like modo benyori lala. So aboko aning Sabally, they almost wearing the same shoes sign. And niya jube na politiko jama wolle bije. Okay, kabring abe APRC before I you join UDP. Kuma balle foda Sabally. Mole kuma jama le fai. But kabring abota je some people, many along people like Yunus Haidaranyul. Yunus has always been making statements about Sabally. And UDP call fankana ka doya eka kuma dol for dol ka isolately because iko amanyan na wo for Sabally because Sabally saying I joined the UDP. But B about the UDP, those same people are turning around now. It's like they got two tongues. You know, Ekadiamu Sabally as if Sabally has never done anything for the UDP. You understand? So na politics be wonyale. And 2 days ago, I wrote, na politico nyanta katalale, ngaki come like football club sol bijan nyame. Fan sol, nibe Arsenal support kang, hani Arsenal every year be lose kang, you would not change. It Arsenal abandon. Ebe Arsenal la manager le change la because ikamira ko la leadership nying wole mambetea. But fan sol buka timo abandon. Yebo Arsenal eta Man United or yebo Man United eta Man City. They are there for life. And politics nyanda ka kewonyale. Because jama wolka nyineka ha iteka Baro criticize the NPP criticize. So why are you still in supporting Baro and NPP? But in coming for Baro and NPP are two different entities. Baro is an individual, he is a leader. NPP is a party with its policies and programs. And I subscribe to those policies and programs. Sometimes policies all kabetiale, but in minuka policies all implement and unke nying wole ka singfalta mia lonko ani tela miralo anila la finaya e manke klingoti. So what is ifunti no ye diam ya for yin famintade among namang mankambeng. So nyindi muna penalty. But it for like drum because Baroye nyinke or NPP kole nyinke mbebola NPP ngata UDP or mbebola UDP ngata doi. So until now we established, we would always see people moving from one party to another. Don't be UDP, kabring UDP lota. Ebijele ite bola je. I understand ko NPP bota UDP le bala. But it all be tarala NPP side, no matter what, wolte bola NPP. Even if Baro is out there, wolte bonola NPP. Dolbe doye kabring chuk, wolte bola doye. Even though imang election no win, ya katanya onya, ima feng sotuno. They would still support.
Okay, so mo problem with it because ni hajibe mo killing wala katu falling wala yemin fo jante. So yamara ndol fango daji ko lom problem with it bam fo wasabali alom mo problem with it so.
Comme o Nigerian comedian yeminfo. Ako ila politic is you chop I chop. And Gambian politic be wonyale. You chop I chop. So politician will be ye political ye as a business venture. They get into politics to get rich. Like na MP Sol. Na last budget nyinyi harivida ika MP Sol joko di minna. Some of them are paid even more than the minister or the vice president. So will be doing political kono not because ilafte la fankol ni la community soul ke yiriwandi. Will ka dum political kono pour ke fan yiriwandi as an individual or as individuals, but a community ni me wulindi. So wulati naikaje will ibuka any bill introduced in the house miya lonko abe the general public or ila community nafala. O iteje la ikakumol fuje miya lonko wuke la community sambanyato o ibuka wolje yeta bandala bankoto yeta projeko o programol nyini miya lonko ibe wol natila pour que la fankol o ke la constituency nying develop ngaje mama kande usually akabo holola he was the only politician minje minka woke andunga komen wola. So these are things you don't see them often in the politician coming. Ika minge kana moto bal order ifangwele ika salary bal order ika ta sungutol samba ke samba hotel olto ika audiol bulami alonko, you know, it's just disgusting. So that's what we see. So andung na society nying fanang saying abetembo minto ni teman korda mi alonko dunia be ba chola o imam muto borende mi alonko mo be ba nyin o imam muso futu mi alonko atele nyinya dunia beti ikeji as imange dinkende. So because of that, more focused purka well amas more than, you know, get committed purka banko dana. So wole atina, and that's the honest truth.
Honestly, so akumata baki kachabe diarim baki kachabe diala labi because bidaka nyameng this is msula tanyin nalang nendang kanyi si fal kacha. Sal, your thoughts? Nkai kungamo ile ibada iges kambake Sal malam muna mui fanana miroti purkan konato dia Sal.
Yes, Mustafa Barakabake. Nuha Fanang, thank you very much for ila analysis of the budgets and ite aje nyaming. Yalong perception like a playing pool kono. Ne fengo kara wala ne fengo moi tulola. Physiologically, there is a way ila brain aka react nyaming, and how it helps you to kind of interpret what you have just heard or learned. So obviously, it's all open to different interpretations. So Momo school of thought means sort of around that. That's what you believe in, maybe, and that's what ila experience tells you, and that's what you have unpicked from the budget. So thank you for making that point. With Mr. Jendo, I don't agree with the position that Sabally and Hussein Wise compare now. They are two different individuals, and you have to look at what they said at that time. You have to look at the context. You have to look at where they are coming from. But Ikawo kind of compare, I don't agree with that, and that's my position. Coming back to your point we make, Mr. Jeng, about more behavior, more attitude. Political behaviors, political attitudes, they have been around for many, many years. If you look at matured politics, Gambia Mamfuta anywhere near that la follow. Because matured politics is where you allow people to express themselves. Ye mira nyaming, ya fu nyaming, ya bula wo nyam. Ikana fengo feng editje. Yo nibida ila mo ila modo fanana. Ise ila mo atala belief, a belief taminna. A political party means support. Why are they supporting that political party? If you were to conduct an interview, Kamori Nyininka from NPP, UDP, and all the other parties, Kenyininka, Dalil Jamala Tindeteka Nyimpati Kari support, you'll come with different answers because, na makeup as a society is different. Ibajela Fananko, political campaign, ika do nyaming in urban areas, ibika do nyama in rural areas. Political arguments, ika heat nyaming in urban areas, ibika heat nyama in rural areas, because in the urban area, people are thinking every day about mafesong, about inflation, about jobs, about dinner schooling, about school fees and lunch. So I know the same thing applies in the rural areas, but rural areas, the community spirit in rural areas is greater than the community spirit in urban areas. So nibenying social issues jibela, you have to kind of look at them from those perspectives. Na political thinking, it is not enriched yet. Political experiences. Look at Fenke, near Sabalila track record jibe from where he started, presenting in politics. Near la political journey jibe. There are so many things is being unpicked from there. And you think, well, the beginning, this is a very promising politician. This is a very promising leader for our community and for our country. This is a new person in the political field. But Niajibe, during dictatorship, there is no doubt at all about Mullah opinions about where Sabally was during dictatorship. He was, in fact, accused of aiding and abetting dictatorship in our country. And then the other thing we have to look into as far as Sabally history is concerned, is Jane Commission. Jane Commission, the facts are there. Many are implicated. From there on, near a political career for Nanjibe, Sambadami. Samba to different places before I do know UDP la Swoko. So in political journey, it tells us a lot about Gambianul in a mindset Benjamin about politics. And saying from a new kunindrong about politics because in Katanyami, we are diverting from real politics all the time.
Mune is Komia Fonyameng. Okay, Sabally has a political history, a political journey sort of. Okay, despite whatever Mole coming fine that he was aiding and abetting, dictatorship, Janet Commission, adversely mentioned him. But it can bring another UDP, all those things were forgotten. They are put under the carpet. So nobody mentioned those things. All of a sudden he became a hero.
Yeah.
He became, UDP la Facebook campaign, despite all those negative effects. So more but saying, why are they bringing all those things?
No. There were people many of them, but again, let's
because they were isolated within the party.
Yeah.
And some of them were
you can see why. But if I alone the co, Hadamading, you need to be given chances. Ni job ni for but they man job so it's an employer do ja ko look I have a job for you be try out la
yalo in the UK
opportunity they come
UK jag, let's say for instance ni be do ko nyini la dino ku jama ika DBS check le ikela background check le and there are certain reports ni will register on your DBS nobody would they would do ko detail.
No, but that's completely different. I'm familiar with DBS.
No, I'm just giving an example. Yeah. Na politiko nying. Nyanta enritla, nyanta karela to the level where quoting your own words, abekela mature politics. And what a kenola when people like you, me, Nuha, and Mustafa and Sabally, etc. will market. At the beginning, before I start live, UDP, there is one guy I had so much respect for, William Karamba Tureti. And when he speaks, he is measured. And Karamba, you would never hear him. Any problem with UDP, you hear him make comments, me alonko, it's a miracle, honey. I don't expect this from Karamba. He's one person within the UDP I've got that much respect for. And we communicate on Facebook and this type of people, ninga will sort of see and in a political kono. Ning sang motekela and atekela politician or me alonko or momi alonko ebe hadumeta. But come ya fonyameng dol ikamira de pasola. But it depends on near the mobi, mandale. But it can really cause me along would have the repercussion on the greater part of the people that can last for 20 years, for 50 years, for 30 years, just because of one single at Yeminke or one omison Yeminke. So, but in Buka will mirror, so like can
okay, coming back to Nuala budget. Okay, coming back to Nuala budget, ma mention. In the final Nuala, obviously, when it comes to budgeting, what is in the budget for households, what is in the budget for people who are employed, what is in the budget for entrepreneurs, etc. So but because I'm coming from a social background, I was interested to see budget of the deal healthcare because ngajelo ko na banko agriculture naming domo wolo mila health because bi ngajelo kurandol be kekan Gambia wolman soto non kabirin saro tulo ka do kuje kabirin kunkol siata gunjur kabirin kunkol siata Gambia la mafandol la wodo molka domor kendol domo e ka jatol min fi ni falentay mota ka wala domo so molla behavior a changed completely towards food and where they live So budget on yimfaram kono ndenga a big disconnect le jeje from between the budget, those who do the allocation, ani mol minka ika mol la needs ani priorities ike set nyadir ika mun tools le use to measure ko agriculture la budget wala nyanta doyala education la budget ika mun instruments le use kaje ko serum agriculture la budget be 34% lanu nyinang ainda kala 7 na dibam fanya nda kala 20 le. So you'll be these people are not transparent about ikanyim budget or set out nyami and me and the final confusion. There is no way that these figures come in dinner. Ni adite nu wala o adi modo like ko okay nin trail ajibe nyeba how they reach nin figures nyo. I'm sure be anomalies jamal le jalaji. So when they present a budget like this, it kind of raises a suspicion as a layperson about where are these people leading the country to. Healthcare mantra function kan. Primary care mi munna no skundalti local communities mol hani ko de mi kata dami. There's no investment going into those areas. Mental health law suspected lunatic act 1964 wole bije hani sign 3 years ago people came together pour act change pour a humanity show demanding abe tableau kan in the National Assembly imakeno luat. It's still called the Suspected Lunatic Act, 1964. How abusive is that? So I was looking, these are the kind of things I was looking for in the budget. And in budget or poverty kelenyadi. The Gambia today, per capita, ngani quote bradol da fere mala reference soto properly. Ila GNI, Gambia B is USD $440. It all rapid population growth. You will identify who are responsible for Gambia increased poverty levels. You got increased by 150,000 over the past year. So in other words, 48.6% of the population lives in poverty. So I was expecting a responsible government would put together a budget that would fight poverty. But in budget of poverty fight. 75% of the population depend on crops and livestock for its livelihood, and yet agriculture is underinvested. So what I'm thinking there and criticisms.
Yeah, Tony Alam, Suleiman Fele Awulta, but member photo Tonya Pruka Ajibe Intela Jero to Mustafa Yalong hadama dingo ese mune jibe Tonya Sabally jane commission ya male andum foyna ta tongola kan ko atedo ko kala mansakunda kono fasiyo daw andum fana atekela directoti mansakunda la bulol la ko sangitan Suleimane men fo wala nyenti ko bring Sabally nata UDP wo kumol buka fo UDP mu parti leti ndemo UDP ko leti UDP mu parti leti parti o mi ya lonko e quand même fo wato wala mo alngalwa bunya bring jane commission la o finding in fintina for government ya white paper fintindi mbenga nyin kala mutala ko Sabally awo ko nyin aya challenge le at the Supreme Court nte ma kala muta ko Supreme Court ye judgment ke o ko la andum ko kum na asra abe larin kiti bungo nyati wala womu kuleti me a lonko UDP quand fo mole wala nyinti ko ala bulaje kiti bungo yela kiti o kuntu fola so ndela jeroto niyaje Sabally UDP as a political party mafoko party dingo dolu bari as a political party pray fintina yena ya foko Sabally nte palaso dile la bawo jana commission e nyina ko mon futa wo level to follow bawo ay koñin challenge kiti bungo to nyamin kiti bungo ni man koñin kuntu follow wala yatin nan defana nadiamo be man kuma foje wala nte kuma fola je me alon ka be dending ko jana commission ko Sabally manyana do ko kala fasiyo down man sakunda kono andum fana bari dun ase do ko keno dinkral min alon ko man sakunda la bulot ni atra ilafta ka do ko diela ko salfi mempo ka mobile entitled to second chance wobe je so but ni nata kuol jube comme sabal kam men fo foirol nin do bali wala nyinti ko nyimman sakunda te ko ya banno la altol kam so nin ayatra akadalilo men di wala nyinti ko sungol lel be siarinje tapalewol lel be siarinje mo kurungol lel be siarinje so ndela problem o keta jelete ni te keta moti mi alon ko e ka foirol nin do bal jikindi ko min tol nata ntollel be altol la balwo nyinen sayete man na folo e ka kumol minul be mulun jaw yandi o warol nin dobal nyakoto yena ye nyaka so be la ya nyombu ya landi karala e ka o mol minul foko tapalel lal muyti sumal multi e kana ka fol kan jele mun tela problem mustafa so wala yatina nteta fola ko jane commission ye tongomel la sabal kan atilin la faman tilimbawo aya challenge le at Supreme Court bari ndema kala mutade ko kiti eta ko wala so wo mu kurete me alon ko ndenga jiki ko asike wala yatinna UDP as a political entity imam finti ka fa sabali en ko nte do ko dilela wala kalo ka kumonyim fo ba ko nyimbe kiti bu nyati wala benga UDP lo nyame nin ko kube kiti bu nyati wala ka fa la nga luwa bu nya ngam batum fa nin kiti ko so wala mun dara jeroti nyim ko do Mustafa baraka
akumada bari nin kumbo nyama solely observation killing for jang malam fo ifana yego hakil mala bang o fo ifana nene o moyle bang foytelom fo sal bang comments on min binaka malam falke jele sia batale a lot of comments running dulka sa nyala and I'm not sure mbebe read la not to be fair yo but remember kere malam fo ifana ye o hakil mala coming ka foko mol puri kabo patito kapak patito ni nara nyim patito do woli embrace ni nara jang no matter ye meneke fo ajaw malam fa bete malam ba nyim patito ke embrace le ni bota jang eta jana wol faranke embrace le but woman ke kame for inconsistency amukuleti mi along go saying political kona lafta kela ku daring wala de o ku commanding wala ka foko amam folontela also andum woman ke kendea taman se road andum malla fi woye ke kuti mi alonko aba molon naleko mol min bije pour foiro le natala pour que nene roitul ila hajo katambi walla ay kedula de dame alonko aba kala ila kunko tolti itul ka balu jeldo ka baru nim foiro tol o mu kulet mi alon malum fo sal o Nuha alla cross road ata wotol ba
nin sinaje janni sal minala ye hadamadi o hadamadi ni wala momoje Gambia Mustafa bankola loi e nyantodi ala pro abella fila katra political party to ay taraje andum bankola nyanto bankola loi e nyantodi a mari lale asebo party do to ay ta party do wonte problem wot yo bar coming nka damin to dami mu problem woti wala mu nyinti ko ite ko dami yalon ko asunkantale ite ko dami yalon ko a nyawuntale hanni be bolay be damin do ibita dinkrado to mamira inyanta talawo ikmo tilina wodula dami yalon ko je sunkantale je notal jelam problem woti yo
ni je fu fana Nuha modo sa foko UDP la party leader aya fole ko baro ila barol de momayama ngamra nitelo o sifal that sort of thing ngamra ofole so wobe nyadil
ha yalon dabo la foko baro mun na barole wo tembola to nya baro mu UDP ngole a resign tale officially kabo UDP kake independent yo bari mobe ya lonne akoyta mobe malako baro e title men safe ko a resign ta UDP le o matin nala atelanganiyo to at that time janna bala party lola alanganiyo e bo UDP ka o koyta mobe mal yo ndela hakil to dabo we nyim fo kan tembo menna ayatara baro man ala party londi folo ka foko ate murunna na UDP ko tanke wo tembo UDP amanke UDP membati officially by UDP sympathizer la mat mole me alon ko angani obe UDP to yo ndela jeroto dabo yaaje wala nyama ko baro mun na barole ti kunu andu hani bi baro mun na barole yo bar birim baro fintita tembo men na ako andata UDP to fereng abe UDP tro bannale wo tembolom akoyta ko baro manke UDP la baro ti kotenke so ngela jero to dabo ya fo nyin kule kam bara manke nyinti ko ning akra baro kuke even wo wato wala me alon ko anin silo manta dabo ta yitan la ko nyin men ka anin silo manta
Sawun ni sawun boy na comme momi ala imam value so imam ite katu sawun la doron dan ko do bela jibo te menanya sal
well sawun Mustafa wala be sawun koma muna ne nyanta sawunna if ibe daming is a participate no fully and they is a contribute no fully a opportunities dealer a platform dealer in the mira kwebe min sotola in terms of global platform where dunia bebe la moile la lungolo so but ni sound in politics in political system of undermine greatly because ni mobe sauna a saunta time min aning abenyami war time aning abenu nyami 5-10 years ago ni compare iba jelo ka kabo nyim parti min do ka sawun parti do nyim parti la ke wala ke moti politically wala the platform londai a lota min kan fu dunia be aje akoita fangal ko sain dunia be ba je kan janninga sawu so ni a political career jibe there is no way it's a for example in Mamadou Sabally's case there is no way it's a UDP topatoro minke Momodla has contributed to elevation in politics. Okay, so thrown out for an argument, but it's very, very clear. Atel Nata joined the UDP, and from the day he joined UDP to the day he left UDP, there are certain changes in our political career, our personal development, our maturity, our understanding of politics, etc., etc. It's a argue taro UDP will contribute. And secondly, I mold me sort of outside, not at Blalto, be Giala Molminia. He made new friends. And Wobe is as a result of UDP. UDP opportunity deal, can expose globally, nationally, and internationally. So, when you sound aka mold jiko undermine, aka political in general undermine, because before a sound, akatra ite ye mutale ko you are part and parcel of the family. Then suddenly your family abandoned. Going out looking for new pastures, and when new pastures they may never come. This is the other issue though. When people make political decisions like this, one thing they need to remember: every major political decision a politician makes can have repercussions, and those repercussions can haunt the politician for the rest of our political life. In fact, modular politics barely tinye completely. You're talking about open arguments and rich politics and matured politics. Na nebos jibe Senegal, wolka debate nyami. Na nebos jibe ila politico akatama nyami. Molbika politico, molbika vote charged by emotions. Molka vote according to what's on the table at the time. Number one, the biggest difference. Gambia molka vote emotions, molka vote ko mfako ndol bebe UDP le wala mfako ndol bebe NPP le nyanda vote la NPP le more because vote according to ila lives be nyaming at the time. And the other issue mean for mbiji more because jeko there is a direct link between the politics of the day and itela baluo and itela agriculture and itela nakol and itela schoolol and itela feeding in general. More because there is a direct link between politics of the day where economy influence nyaming and ite fanam be economy konole ini Gambia dingol be. So more political awareness among reach a point where mbelafila like ataradami people need to know more about the candidate, why they are voting for the candidate, what is the candidate going to bring into their lives that would make it a life more meaningful than it was before. What become if only in questions bill.
Okay, my concern here is model kabonde coming in sound imamira politique patil le fanka encourage because nim mo buta jangana je ka embrace le salfo
ha ka embrace le because he kamera ko anim fende nata itolma wosoto and by the time I realize ko nyini fudo min nata fenjama tije mimbe la parti sambala nyato in fact ajite la parti tanisle yano parti fanam bika careful wala we political parties should be very very careful of involving in steps or with people minbe la image tanisla what is extremely important from a political party point of view. So ni sound be more greed bijele, lack of foresight, and lack of belief in themselves. Because every principled politician, no matter how changed the political tide has become, they remain loyal to where they belong. So that's the point. So you sometimes you end up compromising in principles. So what an dobije aka result in a downfall because you have compromised in principles from one area to another to another, and now there is no way forward. It's the end of the road. So dobije aka dole a political faculty suicide aka a political career end.
Imamara hadumo ni wasabali be nyingul fanangono le no abo sala.
Well, hadama dingo la bo nyama Mustafa hadama dingo dolbe je wolbuka kaya bake coming itol limana tamen na belief tamen. So itolu abe jarale yelo mo sinkumba kan ya tay itol be futala dami ya futawo iman kaya yo but nyin sifa ka menke wala ko aka mollel batande molmini ya lonko e ninyi mo sifa dol manke kilen bawo ni ajibe inte kalole kanyim man sakunda jalay bat nke jalay menna ko ikanna bankola fanko tamani nyamin anin silo manta kuruya siyata je tapala siyata je yo Sabally fana pour ka tata as an example aninga nyun jamal molka waleke so nin Sabally nata ate kamman sakunda min jalay ate fona ta kafuwol kan so people like nte ani nyongolu yamana kolbe limane ya soto lan tolla kumolan ka même foye ban bawo ndollel kalo ndol kawo kuma kilingol lel ko nyimman sakunda mam bete nyimman sakunda man sakunda kurungol kuru yani tapale yala beje yena je nga wuli nga tan ko fo man sakunda kan ni yedden wo kuru yani wo tapale yala nke tumbe men woton gani minul be kaw kuma sifal fo banko molte lano lanna so alkadamin do fo wolem nyinti ko akake end of road leti but not only ite mari bari ite ni mol minul be go o category wala mol ye altol minul je o di same category to e kalbe muta o kilingol le so akana menke wolem nyinti ko molu bukalla na kam mol minul fo karanal ha banko mol ye mol minul muta ko e karantale mol bukana limane ya soto no wala wol tekkeno la wol tek kuma fono la kuma mi yalon ko Mustafa ase mol limane ndino aka mensa mana wala political apathy be kam mol je mol kana men decide wala ndim ko amon jara nyim fa wala nte fa wonte nganda bo politiko fa beto kandu nyinul be fangol le nyinul kamem be fontole ya be mutapaya ya kuma
Exactly.
So kela wala ma be banko fangole batande la because nim mol mallo kay man sakunda lon di silo kan ko mobe nyim mutako na fata la because ninde wultan kon kallo nyin kaman sakunda nyin biya wonde nim minul ka fe wol be kana sawi kala wo man sakunda kan so aka problem la samana problem mo mi yalon ko awarata bake laba mo itina mo fango soto la me yalon ko abe man sakunda la kumol fala fol minu yalon ko e mantra ke kuka wala hani ta pindi tay kaw kumol fo itel la mo yerlal fango soto la because mol te la so sama akaban ko le batande andu nyin kula me yalon ko salifu ya fanyami political party yoli nyanta address la ka jibe ni be motala ni monata wonte problem di moy bo la do to ay sawna ngay ka fa la party ka wonte problem di bangola luwale yo nyanto di amari bari al nyanto mari fana jibe la le abe mun kule to num anaka muna fo bolye anin saying muna ba samba kanna anu nena da fana abu ba ya trial ya bula je sanji wala one election cycle fa ay tara je wara kana tara executive kono ali ajube fo atala wona yin anatale for a good cause fundung anatale pour ka famo yirwande so ñinu femu kulle lon ko political party yol minu be Gambia saballa ñimbe kele ñaayelendira molati kaaje ko ate bayi la pour mole sawun ka bo party do to kata party do bari ni be sawun na fana yenta sawun na dalilo kan dalilo me alon ko mo be sa jeno ko ñimbe sawunta dalila ko ira kan ko min ngam fo ndemu UDP supporter ndemu UDP member la famati yo dalilo la liati nande kata UDP member madama UDP mambo dalilol kan wasilol kan ndela la fo ni nakano UDP do moto bono la ndebulu
exactly
so ñina ika dun biato principles le kan wol minuli dundi je ni atra wol mu kulleti mi alon ko wala be banko be nafa wol ite manyen na bo dinkirato mi alon ko mo ite aje ko nyim sai ka menke ate banko nafa ni te yo je woto mo be nyanta o jelal bani mo be ma o jeno ko ite kunkilimo lo yo je woto problem o be tele bala Mustafa so ñina mun dela lo ni atra UDP ila 5-point agenda min be bulu ni mambo kam ila manifesto ni mambo kam yentela support so anu mse koku keno pour que ma ko be ma ko la anu pour ka ñin la fana ko ni Mustafa mandara place ñin na nde man sula place wala alhamdulillah nde kanyanta so pour ka ko ni je tumando modol samira ko fani ñim fana be place ñin wala ni place o
ya ni place o di fana ne be de la le
no tolte place o tala fan ndende la
okay sal ni problème o bakere ne
okay
ando akedale
yaje Mustafa wantim fanam bije na matu yaje there was a time in the school curriculum there was a time a civic education teach in schools and civic education all about government, about the laws of the country, about ila citizenship, about a number of things. Minka funding kill educate about ila rights la, about nibe bankokan, ila voting rights community, etc. Ndamera masakunda nyanta consideration kerale ko bring into the curriculum again. Ka funding kill karandi
there.
Huh? Civic education. Is it? Okay. Because there was a time though, maybe during between 1996 and maybe recently, but I'm not before.
The naming convention in Nepal, saying abe under social and environmental studies.
Social and environmental studies. Okay, fantastic. But I'm looking at, what is it that's missing in Nanyim political field? How can we kind of knit things together so that in situations like this where people are jumping from one political party to another? No, another thing for a party manifesto. Party manifesto, what a party do be committing to the party. So new manifesto is written and it's clear. And more be allegiance, more be a voice call. Manifesto that they would work with or work from. Then ni sound a political party do and inu manifesto mantala because ibe otulaje ni political party do fana ye challenge ko saying mtola manifesto. Do you agree with it or not? And before you can even agree with their manifesto. So where do you stand? So there are many ways of political parties changing their recruitment process so that they eliminate bad candidates from good candidates, because bad candidates will like bad politics preach, bad candidates will look at in hani palazzo dealer. It become a society transform more. It become transform no to the level deserve. Party principles more baby political party to inyanta alone ite what principles you stood for and what principles what party stood for. If those principles don't match, then that political party is not for you. But greed and self-aggrandizement will come mojama bula in politics la. And
model France afoko sai political keta daraja ñin dulalti aketa kodi ñin dulal wala kunkol design. Your thoughts? Sal.
Yes, niwo fo fanan ibololom, because the other thing in fanan checkla, if you are conducting an assessment of a political candidate, me alonko is going sooner or later going to be affiliated with a prominent political party, then you need to ask yourself a few questions. Ka kenyin ka muno mitela agenda ite ni mun nata jang isen tolla milla fanon tolla political kanya mamin soto already. You know, yeah, marila background jibe for fende bije mi alonko, it raises some questions, and your question will follow, your doubts will follow. But again, coming back to the point, more the recruitment process, they need to look at it so that, you know, as a good politician will dinner, honest politicians, sincere politicians, and in politicians, they'll carry the Gambia forward. Gambia mantano forward. Gambia is still stuck in the dark.
Yeah, but imagine coming for nationalism. Banku Kano, Nuha. Banku Kano, I'm offended me along Nuha. Imamara Wofana is a factor today. Purkajeko mol katara il kunkilin nafale nokan. Wala mol katara itola balunya besone ala nyamen. Dobije fang, do kombonkol dobije. Na nakit total al sa ko politiko mu mako ngana barakal. Anu neaje mol kaje wo nyama. Jero tatale fo afutata fannala mi alonko, because ñing ay min ke janteng maybe ñin sawun sawu mi ngon kafon, not only Sabally modo le yake mi ala sawun to jam ñin sawun sawu mi ngaka keteng akatin na le carte failal mi mol kateka maybe ndani ñongol mi alonko nga civic education la wulen di jam hani nyaman dunna war pour yalla na ba kolala le ba fala tuwa karande ngo bekili, because dal fo ni aje no ni dale ka fo tuwa karande ngo be mu kalawantel tuwa karande ngo bekili wo mindset ni wo jero te wo blame na no wala, because fango kaje la minkake but pour moye woni ay wo si fal condemn jama wala beka tariya kanaka funti no ha mala wala ngi jadi la sal no ha ido
yalon na society be nyamen comme mbota mem fo kandron ni men ka mo jama kalen ni men ka na mo jama bu ka pinti ka o sifal diamu wala nyinti ko eka men expect je backlash men minala ni yo sifa fo molbe attaque lale o mari abadingol be wullale a terol be wullale ka fnyol be wullale ise to ke balle wote social media. So model kajele wo imawo time soto pour kata ka ko be dimba fala social media, because it tobe wancan kan. So akatinna aka men ke wala nyinti ko Mustafa mo jama be je ka fon ko amman jara wala mbatu nganyalon na hajo kan doro. So yedla ma mata ba
exactly yeah
yedla ma kumata ba ke mol ka fo politico halende ba ma fon ko fonyele munete fonyola india mola ban politiko mi alon ko ma ko nga barakala mi asare mon dra place nyinin kanje andu ite ko man sula place la sa yi kamune diamu but nka mem fa wala nyinti ko Gambia mum bela Gambia la nka man dra sirin Gambia al tolbe sirin Gambia la ba nin Gambia tinyata abata ba futala ndela folo. So mobe nyanta nyil don na lay ka ko mi da ikoy be da bon la Gambia la koto nin Gambia man dia abata be futale fanamal. So wala tinna nyanta kala mobe la hajo lati nan dadu Gambia la politiko koto na politician o ni na political party lu ngaaje ko nge londi silo kan silo mi ya lonko abe banko mol na farale abe forol nin do bal mako yela. So nita kamem fo Mustafa wato wala nyinti ko niye World Bank la report jibe 2022 ye même fo wala nyinti ko mo keme Gambia banko kam mo tallul nin sababe mu faro yo fuariya dum World Bank ya difa nyaadi le momi ya lon ko karo kono abuka dalas wilikilin dalas kemelulu dalas sabasoto no afaye wala moti mi alon ko fuaro loti. So banko mi mboko Gambia yaje ko mo keme lota dawda wol kono mo tallul nin saba wol buka dalas wilikilin dalas kemelulu dalas sabalandi no e faye Mustafa o problem balet. So o banko sifa dingol manyan trasiring e be dering kaje ko man sakunda be ila tangol tinyala ibe la banko kasara la ibuka kuma foje ni aje ibuka kuma foje kasila nyina la ko sama social media be fat nyakule tella itele tobe wancan ila banko nyanta jarle ye wolal ila banko nyanta jarle ko be la kaje ko ila banko e lo tilimu kan anin tonya kan andum foare ha men be la banko kan ay kele ay bang yo salvie bla do fana fo ala mo ko na kumata bakele ni la budgeto jube la inyanta jube la nyin dalilol lel kan fo molla foare ha men be banko kan fo nyin budgeto nyin aso foare ha nyin kele no le bang ni ila jabiro mu hanilati woto budgeto nyin mankat yo andum menke Gambia man sakunda ikela budgeto dada silo menna wumus is a very lazy intellectualism tantu ni do budgeto dada budgeto sifa asiata ay sifa dantan so dala budgeto dada nya do beje ikafu me yanko incremental budgeting andun ngaje Gambia man sakunda ka wala ke tawo sang serum budgeto jube nyinanta yedo mon dilla fa serunta kandro yo ke nyinanta wala for incremental budgeting because ni ajibe 2022 budgeto total expenditure même budget and the total income was $21 billion. Yo mbota 2022 kono nata 2023 expenditure ni la fata kabo 21 billion in 2022 kata 39 billion in 2023. Yo mbota 2023 kata 2024 ila first draft kata moneti 42 billion. So incremental budgeting ka wala ke yo budgeting sifa do be Mustafa ka fu mi yanko zero based budgeting wo zero based budgeting wo kam men ke wala nyinti ko nyina ye budgeto men dada wo mun nyinan na ko lelde jar ni dun ta jari ko no bawo nyinan ko do ke ta jari wo tekela you start from zero ya jube you could start from zero ye la budgeto build from there yo budgeto sifa do be ka fu mi yanko activity based budgeting wo mu budgeting ne budgeto mi a lonko ite ka kuol minul ke la banko kan komi man sakunda nyanta tamala nyamin wallel mo activities ti wo activity lu depenso ka ke wallel kan wo activity lu wallel ka kodo fanko dundi bansala ranke soko budgeto nyin ni bada dala isela activity londi ko 2024 mbeni activities lekala mbe jahal pachar kala dinkiralti dami ya lonko karsaba mbukal mano katila jel walla ko kuntawur ma fangola kuntawur woftaw ni jaka batema wo lew min beje mba be kala farolati ñinu len mo activities ti wallahi ko sapo mbeje develop to a point that Ministry of Agriculture be sawndila le to leta si sapo ñinu be mo activities le min ya lonko wallel be defanso wulula andu ni de defanso dundi ñin activity kunna wallel kana fanko fana wulu ka fanko yirwan budgeto ñanda kala kana barin to lamman sakunda mo lamfurngol siate kono min ya lon koy katara sirine do ya jube 2022 nga 21 billion le spend alnga increase nga increase 5% nga ke 10% nga ke 12% nga tara 18% la nga ke 39 billion in 2023 okay mbadu nga jube ba 2023 president la office la budgeto mo 1.1 billion lete bari 2024 mbakela 1.3 billion lete ñinul bemu kullet min ya lonko ñine ya tinna banko la yirwabe ko la to pour moye na lo ka foko e bo budgeto ñim fasa la Mustafa ñindula dun tan na bakela wala ya tinna mpintita kayitande ko ñim budgeto mo tadi fennola fenta ñin kono me ya lonko ay kibar dimale di gambian kol ay men di gambian ko kolam kibar kuma doron dem kayitande ko 2024 wala be ko la 2023 abara
exactly
ene baraba ke akumada bake ila jerodo but saim be minkela nanyin sabijin ko mari sain sabijin ko lon karate alaftan class na wala sain mari dije mari bay alaftan class na ile tabake le ite mari ile talabi hala mo ile nyari hala mo mari mbara
Mustafa I say so one point make the before Madiana.
Okay, okay.
Ngabra internet the problem so.
Yeah,
no I put them in for attending. It's extremely important for Molia budgeto understand wonya. Budgeto is a massive disconnect between the needs and aspirations of the country and in budgeto fankamir reveal. Because among an activity based budget as a result activities man calculate into the budget means a Gambia sambanyar activities tije yo niajibe young people. The population is a youthful population, and then you have a budget that has got absolutely nothing for young people, because I'm fence to young people la budget of fango munaman tala le fang aman lafa aman tala. So it's a budget sifa sotola no banko kan where ila population is a youthful population, and yet there is no activity calculated in the budget. Mimbe funding kill aspirations all. Mimba tinale yo achieve in the country. If you look at the backway syndrome, maybe ila argument can be one of the reasons why young people are encouraged to desert the country is because the country is not offering them anything. Dolka foye ko ndeni ka kachale dolka foye ndi hanimbe fara siloka mol sen jayiko ila ke ya batata jambara fana ya trial pour que kala life change ama change dolka wala foye and it ka fem foye no so ikanyul mi fana deport masakunda be accommodate la nyaadile ni mang any activity sort in the budget that would cater for these people's needs. Yo Gambia would be found by the pinch mean feel come on the ground. Ibi kalon fondita marché to dol kana e murmuri te fensana no essay dol ka food put on the table hani bi wo ben tola kombonyol tole mol ka mano suma ibi ka ite mani bodo sanano ikada marcel to ya konti ko molulu le bela family kono yeta e poti lulu sang and you are alone for a fact ko poti lulu te ila mol kono fala but that's what they have got dol fan ka fe ko ni aje ngamani poti fula o sabasang yalo ni mano fanan dam mani kese munko dam amanke mano di foya ni fendada so ni a soto ya tala ye mano ke mano di promoli a domono. Why should we be living like that in the 24th century when over 50% of the population abe poverty line? So budget me more address inte take on it is among fair among equity soro budget ni man foresight soro budget is not supporting the poor. Budget is not supporting the vulnerable. And ni sasata Gambia be ni mela sasa samba private sector ni mantama mbeye alal tama niotide ni mantama mbeye be follow sasa ko because private sector for kodojo and ni okodo table ma lola soto Gambia ma lola soto outside the Gambia, then you are in trouble with ila life. And to the way forward is na no skundal mini build locally primary care le ben na care change la primary care le ben na care sambala forward primary care ben na care sambala forward nyaade le in a situation where you have doctors enough nurses primary care is kan masingol sodoje ni monata ko nyin kuran karle bala ya scan je immediately your treatment plan that je immediately ya start on treatment immediately before it gets worse. So primary care should be the focus, but investment bigger primary care, investment bigger mental health only one hospital in the whole country 100 beds lebije akatu fala ila standard of care ika query all the time itataje. So what kind of country are we living in? A country the budget is not addressing the real problems more being encountered every day.
Thank you very much, Sal Inimbara. Honorable Maru, thanks. Abaraka, thanks for coming. Let's say after Kela Sabi in gold, Itamadi. Ila camera londiku Mari, Honorable Mari Sise, thanks for coming. Salve mu ejatile de alkalo anin Nuha malum fo yimit dem before Nuha Sise and Salif Mane. So be min kala follow Honorable Mari, thanks for coming. Although the trouble carrying nya Mari jama be atentula wokang ninga command jang wati akanale. Momin bi nyanga buita bake min siata mo kemati o nyom bi janne fonka kema fula nyong gol bandi sign. So ning kumbo nyama mbesa mutanyo feko banku kano banku doko wala tinan tolbe bi jang molbe jiberola molbe lamoyrola. So kam nga mutano nyofe madi mo moti mi alonko centro ni jero baye kula membe dende niya komandi akane dankule wati nte mbo fala la bar ndobi je aka ledle jama mbo fanam fulal okay mimbe nyungu kono lafta mi fo wolom aning kule nata mi alonko ay mol sula bake nte jama jama ko me fuarol sula fuarol batandi nkala fele ngaji ben ño fembe ño kuninde lano wala be ño karande lano wala ñame madi ning act le nare kamen foko rent act bari mari folo simple ni mole ño konton andi ya fo ñep muna ba fudori ñen ko kono mari Cissé honorable
baraka bake ngal tentu ngal jay aka kem fanan sawalti wato wat na lek mandro ke samabe bay ya fa ñame bangu do golo momo si do man ni man ken no yo ke no ji bare ay ñin la ja ko aka tarde le wato do yalo ko nga fo ñame non dol be community men kono wato do li buka kanano ko ñin do ke da ñame ndro sinyo sala am solo banta ma kala mo mo kabin so manda fo talanta mina kan do aya fani so data bado bari sewda bake utan dabla la kacha
akumara bake madi nga kacha fu janne kula mimbe dending jero la bari lafta minna lafta safero ke minna wala ilafta min sambala National Assembly malam fa sambala fa ma sambaba min kita luas act ni rent act par folo lafta minna ko janne be donna ko no be la fela ya define ni folo ya fonye munom ila nying rent act wala nyi rent luaso aning muna dundi kono e ko lafta ka asamba pura e kacha.
Okay, janninga futaje barangal update say ngobe damen say ni kumu atamita first reading atamita second reading say habe damen say fentije men Sabally kala luwati fo dibitol la si kote ni sita drong abita ida to a committee wa eta whole house then avec la luwati katum funkul me yalon koy kolayatan tamito belale ñi araba tambila kanela jabiro nati mbe carte fay banko le kan carte fay banko men luaso mu doku baleti jam andum by extension hanina carte fay dandang banko don men baby je men bako bundu ñol men bako sere funda ñol men bako kata fu brikama ñol aje ko luaso e mol solale so na o 2020 campaign kambe député aji ningla am kumol den kamem fon na platform to ka fon ni ala yake murunta loi membe tunkuring bun loi sola mba jubela la ngana kato kije o kato menete wala mbe private members bill nat lale bari private members bill wom mo clean na mirol drong na ya nati député bon ni jama sonta aske man son atekela loi so ngawle formule kabring campagne wato so kabring ala ke murdana nje drong natana atnin nat so meya kendi molo sulo anin jamala bata anun del fanan tartawol konole to min be loi sola kat ne fanan be loi sola no fo wati jang anni atan say mental loi sola nyawanya so molo sulo le ya kendi ngawol loi nati pour que loi ni njube ka falendri ke bunda dolla kadum kabri ngaaje 2014 atlom kabri ngaajube ngaaje ko bunda dol bije amang luas lali arrangé anu bunda dol fanan bije amang buntiol fanan arrangé bari meni ya lon ko disadvantage ta wala kata molde men ka luaso jo ñin dalil wala sabu ngani rent amendment act nati dibitol ñati la so ko nga fala ñam first reading kedale on the 12th. Then on the 19th, at the second reading, the most crucial part, ni loi de la député bola. Kad o second reading, ni bidol ka bilo ni na merit anala demerit kacha wolto. Ide yo song o kana song. Bal alna ta ke député bon karafu mo be sondele unanimously. Clean de me along ko kuma fo nyim bilo ma même manke kuma nyimati be sondel ko anyam tekalale. In fact, da nga idea dol na defang dol ya jubem fe ko dol nyanta o dol la falale. Nga dol kanya bunda men dol ko ajanda tamilo la bari o be ni tata community of whole house abe keno la wol so bilo nyimbe o tembol do say
akumada ni aji nganyunu Salif comme mbakala ka jalde rek Nuha Salif momo la fa jansaro ke la wato you can interject wato wati bari madi nyimmu kulati mo sa fono ko anata wato la walla o overjutale because mol minni ya lon ko wala sulata katu ne ajibe sai bitilo loi so mo fende de mi ya lon ko akumata bakele kombo sere kunna ma fa kombo tuba banko wala banko fankam because bullo lal nin landlord aning wol molle de minni alonko ni man kurso to membalari kunna tolo la kaje ko kanyan dula la nyanta tarla je pour mol fanan sa baluno nyame ajarta ka kacha ajarta ka fo barmadi ni ajibe nyimo kulati mi alonko amu kul kono kilenti bari fanan yamira muna jarda fonyin ka wulinde ka samba député bunkon
kilimbi ye men kumara bake niya loi men minu jang men 2014 act itara tunkun tanni worula ay loi so taya talasi la fula akafo doye low cost akafo doye high cost akafo me low cost wolon kabo loi so men mu wili sabati kana we dumala 2014 act section 17 ay okay low cost le ako low cost même na tay tebe loi so ndo te ka wuli sabale jo wala membe wuli sabo e dumala ako ite mari nyande ka loi so jo karning kari o loi bunti o man sembo so ka fote e be kari woral jo wala sawle jola ako bar ni femfe lata wuli sabo kan we santola bunti o sembo so ka foyen ko kar sabo jo wala kari woro jo wala sawu jo so ngole koros ngaju be sayin membe kerin sayin mol men ka wuli sabojo daw do ata bakel kadu kede bakel mol men kono kilin kono nin salon warante bladol fan mo ya fanyo kono kilin fan bladol de kat wuli sabal joje bari mo bumba ka menjo o kata la fo wuli woro wula wili say wili ta say nado bundala dube ngon so la amen ayo même fois ko mu low cost même 3000 woni kumu in the reality what kerin say jamaka 7,000 8,000 so ni take 7,000 jo luas la sembo sa afo ko 6 months jo rekala 42,000 pour afo ko sound jo sa ngo baleta nga raise to 7,000 say mol men yalon ko ka luaso ni ni luata da falo da momo we ka wuli woro wulo jo kana we dumala o luas la man sembo so ka afo te kari woro be bajo nyoka yaaki so nga mira wosi keno modole soneyati ite wuli woro wala jola ite wuli woro jola ite wuli lolu jola ni sa loi ko ngo hani ite woro kadi woro jola ite kadi sound jola be clink no ngaji ko wosi keno soneyako wala ken ngo la amen na bani raise to 7,000 ni tata kan notiso di mo la fana funti la bun kono ngo fana jube nga ake kar sabati o fana mari be saferol ke atikala dala forode bundas do fana biye me alon ko wolon bun luaso la fa kadu ngal membe kerin say ni sita wuli woro jola la ngala la safa say de karnala de wul say le jol so ibajo fere ko say mo do say ngo fana jube ni bumbe la fa la fana sawn kono akara tambi 5% la so isi men keno la faro keno not more than 5% and we to keno la within 2 times within 12 months ba keno sinya kin ron sawn kono so ni ku dandal biye mene alon ko ngajiki aussi que no mole nafati
sa
Yes, Abaraka Bake Honorable Sise. This is the first time meeting Amira. Ilaning a private member bill. I'm glad ko I second sitting in parsley. And all being well, abekela luatile. Ngamira mi entenya bondi luaning kono is I social protection ming of a luas line. Yalo wo important. Especially na economy benyamin bi. In fact, kante worile akang jahalifang mini be luaso le ka luaso jono nyadile because karola faka tarial but niko 14 15 akara karo father you are worried about other things ila food didn't want the school fees you know mafi songolu etc. So mini ka luaso ke generally in na urban areas malu wolkatra what kind of employment lela to be able to sustain ila rental cost because I'm worried balum obviously ni be luasi jo wono mi la priority hani mo la health fund come second luasi jo lo mi la priority because ni man tra bunko no you know kudol to patola no so aka worile ye tribunal fana mention je so what tribunal fana abekela a statutory tribunal letiba
wo already wo be lori no be 2014 act kono le rent tribunal so balela ko nene ka fo modo le kacha kono e ka fo ko ka loi nyin ka de daw man ko le bar ka loi taman wala ko le ko hani loi be nyamen na de data ite be loi so ite ka sai ite ka das wuli woro jo ni luas la na ko kar woro ja fa han to jo la kar loi mof na balanda ite ta kitudla ya bunti o samba kitudla kadu ite na ta da man be ko da ko ne ba katala na le maslaha ñoo fe al sonta ñoo fe je woto loi te implement no kadu court bol non court bu la da na ite la bu kono mo le be funde ta court fo mo si loi ñenta ya test in the court so wo fana do ni ata da fakata loi ti mais station jama kala o area to pour mo si la loi ni ñanto long ni ite la ñanto mendi ani loi la bunti la ñanto mendi aussi long what then tribunal bijele is an existing one may along ko in fact 2017 o amen telefon otumo first class magistrate but say third class magistrate wala kasi over it and otumo abe on the local government but say abon on the local government ya sama on the ministry of justice so won fende me ko bamman ni ni mentara je ni loi sotoda ni mum agree to ni tan loi jikita ko be justice sotoda.
Yeah, because I was thinking for maybe there would be a statutory body. Me along ko ni be renting. Ni man satisfied with the contractual arrangements. Ni man satisfied with landlord behavior. Wala I should notice dealer ko finti, which is inappropriate, not consistent with the kind of contract I mean signed. For there is a statutory body. It is a sambadami. Uliete ila interest gibe, not the landlord's interest, but it ila interest.
Very well, all of you rent tribunal. But me at Kuklim we member as a private member ne bilonati we blows the comma luako as a private member bill nati. Woman any cost on the consolidated fund. Ne ata no what yenu tamino be close create la melan ka beta rent control authority.
Okay.
Ni rent control authority sotoda wosi ñing kusifal dol kiskisyon han ni janna ko la court level. It's a settled note. But nonetheless, ni ndara final reading ka na abe na wato na pele luati then kan file man sekunda yenne pour yo rent control authority create can data create constitutional man sembo nga create but it is going to have a cost on the consolidated fund no but I can urge them to do it and ask the minister to do it nga jiki obe keno because kabringa ñu ko mira fang justice minister laftam bulo lafune ko na legal department ko justice minister ko ya tuje laftal loi do ko ngon tatu la je ka fo konkoto e bulo ku molbe batarin ne oto ndebe ñu loi pousse le fay que loi ni tel près wat na diate ya repeal ñin do men be content me be ñu loi do ko sano ya lafa loi ke be menat bari ka fo ko telebe loi na wat na singam bulo la do mole ko toro ne batala ko en to kala man sula ministre jele dawda men bilo Sabally Kukling ya sona ni mole because sign National Assembly ya own legal department soto moy kasama minister of justice draft no ko ne ki de level to back but sign internally we have our draftsmen, our lawyers, so they guide you through the process.
So that's good. And it's secondly, it's important that akana dang urban areas that matter. The Ninying Rent Act be, kind of promote la in small villages, towns. Banko Bay, ya kalamta same time ko nyinde be caring luaso la bunda dato, and nyinde be caring functioning luas la fanantema. Nyinde nyanda kela siloti mi nyanda tamala. Nyanda futala Banko Bay lale, not just urban areas.
Akumana, sal kedem info lafta observation la fala je jale mi kan Nuha. Bayri ya fuku.
Inshallah dimbe promotional kala ma kala nga futa Banko Karo Bela.
Exactly.
In fact, it will interest you to know that Mansekunda Fong is the biggest tenant. Just over only 3 years, Mansekunda pays over $800 million on rent alone. Over $800 million. Mansekunda College has rent. So Mansekunda itself is the biggest tenant. So this is in the interest of everybody.
Okay. Ndel after minute aji vela nya honorable. Wolom fuarolti. Mini along ko sembo mom fota je. Sai ni laf the whole sambala ni laf sambala loi nyati lewon the cost involved jamale bo jole ba kala no nyaadi la wo muna balare wo kunna tolola mim joro ila fa sambala ko
like now it agree be mata sambala court
you are a tenant ila fa sambala court joro nim financial cool mim be woto jamale nyando cost jola.
Well, ngam melong nalondo man dinka auto but ngam melong is needed as a complainant eka court fee the manager. That's very minimal amount of it.
Which is?
It doesn't. That I'm not too sure of that. Maybe it's like finance can source no, but as I'm speaking to you now.
Because new one the government Asamba code. Because last time Fenkenada Janne Emmanuel Juve ako fenne bije ka fa ko legal aid. Ndena na malo ko active in Gambia lefa. That place is dormant. Legal aid in the Gambia. After democracy la legal aid mantara active ring. So you know be kulete minni alonko mol the education side of it, the civic education hani nyim fonga albe nyim na kukende ye nyim mengereng but han say namam futa mol la base gunjur aning foiro la pour sensita mol ya kalamta because abakala nyebal la kulete rek betra dere anka wala nyama so jang lafte makoy joro bet lala nyameng lafte jelon na bakele saje wo fanang ay blokul kono mali
o legal aid to jalom Emmanuel ya mensuale jang me yatina be doman limbake Minister of Justice ila budget aka lumple together ika kije as subvented institutions saying it can find very difficult pour que la kodo access no from the ministry where tonight it can paralyze le even ila lawyer kendol fan dol ke la lawyer table because they dol le kan la lawyer jo kende ka tambitola but thank God this time around kabiri wo shof tandimma particularly wotata na because Minister of Justice mentala committee le koto ndolle kala budget jube nga direct menyante kala je wala Justice Ministry so nga make sure that this time around they have their own budget line so saying they will not just go and beg the minister they have a line there the amount is there they will be able to access that money easily so nga jiki saying obekala obukul sonan lebul bakele. But no, that right, it's very dormant because because it can be lumped together as subvented institutions under the ministry.
Okay, and sami fono mole honorable ning alasonda minaje ne kafo eko ning ila luas la ko abe funtindela. Isa inala agreement of minti coming nila jo kariworo joro long ko belari nyaaw nyama ning ataranung ila landlord ay lua wali nyoya iba sambala dameng aning jorol belari nyama wolfanam be kumala prungelong honorable honestly because wo isaje pour kamol educate ya belong ila mo akarandi ya kunindi pour ay kay joranti mi alongo wala bakala ma ko dan ya nyekere de ala ya blay wo nyam fo
is a very good point, and then I will make that as my point of duty because you know, femfe mensa sonenda, tamanya sonendi, femfe simol jahal noje, ninsa sinendo, basinenda. So I'll make sure that next week, inshallah, in point be clear, I'll do my findings and have all the costs, and that I will decide together with the audience.
And Nuha, kodo ngole foja, malo, your thoughts.
Abaraka bake mbe baring honorable Sise bismillah la programme nyento ka jeyi ka tentu ay ñim mira kendo men sono ka sembentangol makoy loi sola karola nte sembel la fano je ñi atla karola ya nte manke loyati so loi la karola man jam faje bake bari nin atra ase keno honorable Sise bawo niaje dalilo miyatin na ebe low cost threshold nyin lafala kabo 3,000 kata 7,000 wato kata nyamin nam brin 2014 anin sign tema fengol da falinta fengol da nasol dal iseleta santo so ning atra asekeno pruka ka bilo nyin ke built me along ka be clever la to a point that ning ebe threshold kenaje for this amendment act, yake okay 7,000. However, some threshold in line with inflation. There cannot be any need in future. Promoting a potenga for sign 7,000 or that way at a back a committee in Menketeng, then I have 10,000. So Pruka water come watertight until I get to now was 7,000 yen. It's a long this time, but going forward, the threshold for both low cost and high cost energy increase in line with inflation. So Ninta at the end of the year, 2024 ninyin keta maybe aketa amendment bill nyinti act nyinti loi nyim falinta for president ya assent a gazette. Then at the end of 2024 ni inflation increased from right now 19% le now increased to 21%. That's a 2 percentage point increase. So therefore the 7,000 nyimvana threshold ni should increase in line with that 2 percentage point increase by 2%. So imagine at any point in time, it will be relevant in line with the the increase in cost of living. So auto fana munna observation tinatra wasekeno to make it fluid. There will not be any need in future we exhaust the 7,000 now let's increase it to 10,000 or 15,000. Munna observation if it is doable. Secondly, fana nyimu kuleti me alonko ko ya funyami mansakunda itolel bekela the biggest benefactor because ikakodo men spend near appropriation of jibe kamen allocate to rent compared to rental income men kana about mansakunda ka luwaso jonyami ila dinkira dol fanali fanal ka luwaso kanen wala nyama so rental income kanale however e ka menjo luwaso to wala kasiya rental income men kana so wobe tollel muna fanna baake andum fana ase men keno fana wala nyenti ko pour ka jiare sembentu yandi kaje ko natra ase dunno bilo nyin kono honorable kaje ko jiare ye kuke ka rental property they identify in the country ngalon ko atekala do ku chahandi because sante niya jibe penjama be je jiare katama menna abe mu manual systems le manual processes le because hani la TRS report jibe men fintinde amam me baka wala time recording system ibe men jibe ka wala container ka e ka me bada la nyaadi le janning ibe bagasol jin kulumol ka me bada la nyaadi le poro to janni be bagasol jindila so what time recording ni yewoleta bari even wo 64% of that process ya beke manually only 26% wala botana asikuda world kaje ko okay wo the data you need to is automated so ngalon ka tekela kucha hanti jiare bawo ni ajibe luasi kakanin Gambia banko kan luwa nyine foko momo luaso kanin nyanta namo jola wala so wonamo nyin kajo nyaadile min atra residential property lem komi fongola kordale mu ye mota ya dundige luaso la ni dalasi wilfula kaninga mari bulu 8% nyanta wala jola jiare as residential rent tax $160 ni atra commercial property lem anyanta kala 15% le so ñinul bemu kulle mini a lonko ngaji kiko ning bilonyin putata plenary tumando député be ila political land la karala le banko mol la nafa jube kaje ko a proportion of Gambian people e bebe loi sol so men se loi so sone andino nyim mol bulu wonyanta kala kuleti me a lonko politique man nyanna dunna je député be la nyokan ye fendundi nyim bilo ko no me a lonko it will stand the test of time coming kanyim fluidity mem potenko the threshold will increase in line with inflation on an annual basis. Well, either this will be up for review to increase the threshold in line with inflation after every 5 years. However you want to put it, problemo solve la sign thing the problemo me need nyindi kaje ko okay 3,000 mobuka wojo sign 7,000 and above molka wolejo. So tumando ofanabe makoiro kala warol yen namini alonko e mantre fanson korlal to Gambia banko ka ando akumata fana ngadoje bilo nyinto mi alonko mi ebe mo bondila yanta notice o dilala le mi alonko atata fo karsa banyon nimmanyina so fana kita kuti mi alonko akumata because ika modol je case ka luata ka mute bloko no yela luasla notice ka ngo karfa ebe pintila amman finti ye dunna yena kela bagasol be boni ke fay banda ol be mu kullet mini ya lonko e mulun jaw yatale manyan na kela banko kam banko mi ya lonko ntol ko ndina tale sako Gambia mu banko men so ol be mu kullelti meyente nyaabo nyim biro la ko honorable mba fole en ko abaraka bake just keep pushing kaje ko yemol consult mo la mirol te kala kilente but mando ni mira jama soto yewo la fa e defo la miro ni député do la miro kan tumando aseke puti me alon ko abi banko mol de mala bake bari yafu nyami abole nyama man sakunda wala fo mu bundat me alon ko be muna fanna nyinto bak andum fana e se giare fana press nole kaje ko your system will put in place men certain nako any rental property fabe kala residential rental property letiba fabe kala commercial rental property letiba ye be identify kaje ko every quarter coming abe giare act nyami every quarter yeta yela reporting ke yela declaration okay 3 months after the end of the year yela rental tax ni ya be yo giare yela recitol mute blokon so keta kutimi alon ko a bente se wala bake ning atra was fanase keno bilo kono ka giare commit ka je ko ye systems and structures put in place ibe rental properties identify no la nyaming ka assess ka je ko ika men kanil luas lal bulu yewo declare because gambe keta bankutimi alon ko on the declaration asiate je bakel andu modol soto da giare do kulal ko min alon ko wol fongol ka business wol makoy pour que la namol ñinul kay que la income ñinka on da declare omu kuti me alon ko aka banko fondi na fulol la andu manyan nakela so ni a traisa ke no bilo kono ka giare consult ke e dabulandi ñin ko kono ay ke kuti me alon ko is a structures put in place ko nga fa ñamin ka rental properties identify banko ko baraka
ba baraka ba yeah, I have baraka back. Hello, Lion Haklobulani, Cabring, the Bidol below la Meritinal, Demeritial Kachala. I saw the Bidol many along exactly any member for year restless. So will be noted down. So Nintata to the community of the whole house, may along come below you will clause by clause. Yellen would adjust because happening Banko Naflo Jama Takarandala because premises in man register. I rental premises will be registered. And we'll finally also suggest Fananko Nyanta classification of rental premises and financial land. So in it's a good suggestion. I'll take note of it, inshallah.
Sal, your thoughts? Malam for if I year times or Purka Finko in your read bang. I think not copying in Senela, Malam for the one in 8 times or the level.
Moving.
Number Sal, numbering on mute. Sal, maybe mute, Sal. Maybe near on mute.
Your opinion is sending it, but obviously it's short notice long. But in the come you know, a social protection, rent, I mean rental contracts, rental arrangements, wouldn't interest them because in a population where people are already kind of struggling to meet their daily basic needs, you know, ni rent be momo kuna wo mari because no because you know, as I said earlier on. Ni la jo so do rent long priority rent follow ka jo then other issues you'll consider ila health the school etc. So if there is enough social protection to protect in tenants, I think that would be a very very good kind of position really. But me and so like the government being the chief tenant, you know, so what wastage minty is beyond belief. So Madi monomaltola suggestion around how to cut that bill because no government departments ye private property rent for many years. Not a temporal arrangement fine, but you can rent it for many years. How are those contracts being managed? Is it transparent? Are you National Assembly members aware? Government loan tenancy. If there is a change in contractual arrangements, landlord you know, property in rental la fale from 5,000 to 10,000. What does that kind of information come through to National Assembly for Obika ke alto la kachati at all?
No, actually, but it really shocked members of the National Assembly because in figures, parliamentary question pose. We have two types of parliamentary questions, and maybe members definitely should make best use of that. Dobile is oral answers. Like in the session, every Wednesday, ministers will come and answer our questions orally. But then there is 5 questions per member. But then from at end of one session to the other session, you can also write a question to any relevant minister ask for written answers. So that's what I did in the case of rent and in the case of travel. Some time ago, I wrote, asked a question to the ministry to give me all the details for the past 3 years. And they have to do it. Within 10 days, they should provide all the figures. So when I got those figures in the previous subsequent session, so I divulged it in the parliament. So it shocked a lot of people. So idea's main float at the time is to address this waste of spending millions of dollars on rent. Why can't government, like other governments, identify land, huge land, structural build there for offices, so that it become government's property? Then they'll do away from renting private property. You know, include Beckham offices, Minister of Higher Education, Minister of Gender, and maybe private premises, and even departments. So we could make use of land, although I'm making a big expenditure, but then in the future it'll pay a good dividend. So these were some of the ideas that come. So, but in a contractual between Italian landlords, don't come through parliament. But then, if we want to know anything, we can ask a written question, and the minister will provide it.
Yeah, come the transparency side of that contract, like a sign nyadile, Jamala sign extension, and it will see fall. Well, honorable Wolfgang Kumadal.
Ikumara, but I ministry in landlord tema, just like as a private man in landlord Benjamin. But then government, a couple government tax, a couple more consolidated fund. So what I can a question in in 2020 to 2022, how much has government spent on rent locally and internationally?
So ministry me maratao housing contractual arrangements la. Aka yearly report produced to the house bank, or you can find the published whereby more you can access it.
No, those will for public consumption. No, I can trade in it for internal members of the ministry for only a clinking for mole, but it goes share with the public.
And I think what would also be most important is now the threshold 7,000 or 6,000. Alkana generalize. Alajibe, okay, this is applicable to maybe Greater Banjul area, KMC Nyoldolu, and West Coast. But beyond that, the threshold should change according to people earning potential, so earning capacity. So consider that. So that the higher you move away from Banjul and in the suburbs, the lower the threshold is in terms of minifanambije also meet no for.
Exactly. What I can covering members by discuss one of them mentioned that we should think of classifying rental premises. Exactly. Maybe what may go in Serekunda area may be different from Gunjur people and then beyond, something like that. So we need to
no, Gunjur rent is free. Gunjur rent is free.
Really? Then
okay. By the time what to say? You want to drag Gunjur into this? Sign Gunjur call ni wolko. Kuku baming ko bako na balo besone ala nyaming. Kuku maming bako domoro dabe di ala nyaming. Sera kundangola dipite ani o mom fundin dolka te ko luwaso ani ole fundita. Sign. Ibe mena fola no purka ko sembentu ya mari.
Domoro la ko.
Modul safo eko ha modul safo eko domoro bi janne baluba ko layari mano dabo ko layari ima foko price control ningole kele iman nyimfo iko luwaso ya bana nyimfo nga buka fenne soto nyinda de ka nyaati le luwaso minate woto imama nyanda nyinen galal ay jabi honorable
ani sayin botula bantaba dunke o dol lebul bari bantaba ni mo taworo la ni sayle biye sani mo kle bumul dol la kolma o do fanasi balo ñu dubé dole ku do jubé mebi mbobu la guñu dibitel keke bi mbafla keke bi ate o ma fa jubé oto
ha bare on ko kuma da ñoti len c'est prioritize no le fo
ha keneke as prioritize no bari yalla mol ka mem ko bum ate mu sutura balet ni be la bun ko be sutura nje ye mano do boba ye do fe do mo ko lo ni funta mo bukalo so wala ken bun ko mata bakale so do mo ni ko be kata bon la ko nga bun folo ta régler no régler ta sina funti do mo ron ko nya
sera ko dan ko la député ko bungole kumata ni obodo je zina domorodo. Nuha, your thought?
nga lado fanaje biloto lafta maybe coming nga fanya mi manke loyalty mando nga karanya me asike ma faham bari section do be je mi alon ko ka foko ni luas lama luaso jo karo fata mbita tiltanin nani anyanta fola ala luas kamonyin nani so ni a wolam woto mbe suggestion o kala pour ka ke karkilinti bawo mol soto nyal mampulung mol soto bulol mankanya so nka section o men fo wolam nyinti ko ala section 13 of the Rent Act 2014 kaje the amendment implied covenant subject to the express provision of a tenancy agreement. Every tenant shall pay rent on the due date or forfeit the tenancy for non-payment of rent 14 days after the rent is due. So mbol to for kante ning atra wolem amendment nte fe 2 weeks adango do ata bakele bawo nimmobe luwasola ama fansun korda so rolat na be luwasola yo nama luwaso jono fo lokum fula tambita karfa kola kawo mari fondi ala kamola luwas dula nyin ton te fe o hasta bakele ni atra asela fano nalo landlord sol to man don nan ko ngote diale bari to letra dula so to lebe tarla dame bari tol mini alon ko be luwaso la e ni ko man na luwaso jo fa tambita lokum fula karo fata fo nduntanin kardo kono tiltandi lulu iko nyen ko sai kambe o min benni temani luwaso la karola aburukata la bawo tiltani nan tambita le man na luwaso jo mude obe kole ala bakele malon fo also change no le bang ni altata alla all members committee nyinto kake 1 month at least o karkido on kono mari se rabarabo ke comme gambian kol ka fo nyami ay luwaso nyin kata aya jo karkilimo me ya dang aya jo ase fera ke janni nyin kardo be fala so fana jo bari tiltanin nanin tela miro to dal asutiata bakela pour kamo fondi ala luwas kamoy
kaje kabri ni ren la ko ngamira well man luwas la damam fanan jube nga landlord so fanan jube ne man ne gol ka mem fudo nyokana so fa bari so fa nan kana nyofa luwaso mutil tan sabalet so ni dara futil tan ni dulu e ma jono o nyanta jube la maybe ke fondala wosi korosno le ko amen demande bari ni yake karodi mo men man luwaso do fo karkile ni nada yo karo bula nada kado ga sa ko laani bina la fala kam bakel oto ni ya karaho nata demanding half month si tabara ke no half nyam saji kana la nyoka na la nyoka kana ke problem balti tenants nyole sud nata de fenjo me ala ko 7000 idada karkile mbande mojo ibina flan nyanko so I talking of 14,000 mo man 7 do ni 14 nata laje atara 21,000 kana problem nati walakin wo do fana bijele ka coordinateur fana protect je ko momo dunda je bay contract lo ni tara fo karo talento fero be nyanda kala ba don bije da mol ka négocier no bari o sike fi fendi le mel ko mo sa jube no le at the whole house committee
so sign for people nying wo yemune min fo coordinateur se amari bayno le ka fa fintina bunko no bambawo lokum fula tambite majo wo yalo to fana nyanta ko le pour mol ya faham ko ni ko will forfeit the tenancy we mune firing kangoto
ni ko forfeit the tenancy ya tenancy wala loi solo ni ya tenancy forfeit même we jela won funtol decide and definitely like you are, I'm not a lawyer but that's it. May I not together it will tenant let in landlord. So agreement will be so that half month imajono because ni majono then you forfeit your tenancy. But what cross talent?
Kote keno la je coming warning yake ka fa mariam ko well this is the final warning nin karo tata fa fata imajo ebe fintilale then I haswo nyama signed about tiltanin nani tambitale imajo finti ngamira o oto fana nyanta koros la tonya coordinateur fana la balwo lori nyinkam bari tonya ite ka luwaso memuta asikeno bunkilmo dam mamanket la jikoti ikabalu damen yo bari nyimbe luas labo bunkilo men ko na be jikiru ngoda man ya pindina be tara silola so mando message no bilo nyinto wala ka mari final warning diala ka yitandala ko wala fanga ala ka stages ti ni atata fa tambita tilulu ase babal warning diala ka fa moro elal luaso je imajo andum ni atata fa tiltanin nandal kambe min ben ni tema be bannale so asamari hakilo bulandi wala atata fa lokum fula den ase warning diala ka fa ko sande mfana futa tan gandula nin sain atambita nyinna dal ibe karfa dal ibe ese pintinna bu kono bawo ete luaso jono mando maybe also fanata jibe noje
okay so
yes and why nyimi for is a good point and headache lom for every tenant really ye tara in a position where iman luaso jono and the cafe for 14 days you will forfeit ila tenancy whoa I don't think wo think also I some equity sort of or balance in terms of power sharing. So ndamira negotiation de nyanda kela ya foko okay ani ma foko 1 month buy ko 1 month abina complicate lale la finance special. The other thing maybe you can think about is ya for money a small amount of money Joe as a deposit. So nibe in situations like this money can be withdrawn from a deposit which the landlord or some other agency will have access to through FEMCO mitigate tenantless circumstances. But I think something needs to be drawn into the act. Mimbe tenant to favor for more than 14 days. Nabe duna bungo no alsa fay deposit ojo, na deposit ojo. In circumstances like that, some amount from the deposit can be used to mitigate ala karfajo mimbe hanging in the balance but kala tenancy forfeit wonyama ajita min dole ni muso babula nin din saba ila school rearrange nyaadi le be fintla bunko nyaadi le domoro fombe kala nyaadi le so really and the other thing I was thinking about for now government nyanta some funds put aside to help tenants or many along they are struggling with their rent. Although the facts le deal also often build knowledge into the whole thing kajeko there'll be areas or avenues the tenant can tap from when they are in difficulties like that so some kind of innovative ideas need to come out from also member household okay na makoro abe finjan na bake tenant le la side la than landlord la side because landlord is already powerful bungo babulle ase modundino je ase banka modundi je ase kemeta dobulu ay wili fulata dobulu so landlord power mimbe obulu alhamdulillah wo kanyandere bari nga tenanto fanana la dimba ya fanam protect
Good points. I think I'm really getting very good ideas. Luani man complete flow. These are some ideas many along ago it could be incorporated. And in this section 13, I have not looked at it closely, but then I will take a look at it very closely. Then after the committee of whole house, may along still those lafano jere, those talano jere. So we are at that stage. So these points are really very, very valuable.
It's gonna cost you. What to tata bake? Very honorable mimbe nyin ko kono. Ko fele abekerin anda ketale. Par kukili yende sula nyin ko kono bake honorable Madi. Lafta ewo jibe mfe bake pour foirol nyajo ba fitala no nyame nyin ko kono. Because mo jamal bije ka fole ko to karandingol mu kalabantel wo mindset sifa mimbe dundim mol kono député mantara mol mako e kan député wolbe fangole je député wolbe coming wo sifal mo kullete minne alon ko ikumata bake pour mol sa long pour mol sa kalamta ay ke kuti mi alon ko abukela couleur ngolde akana ke danko dronti honorable nin kumbo nyama lafte mako e kukelena bi ni ba fala mole mun nafale be nying rent acto mole mi ya lonko iman sembo soto mun nafale be je
nafa membiye asial katu follow buntiole sembota ka lete kan itemen be la kodo jola karo kari loi ñimbe so la symbole jele ni loi lota sabe ñimbe tambila sa pour buntio na lo kunda fo ngo ite de e ka das wuli nan le jo bari sa en karnala be wuli le jo la kane wuli lo jube 1000 increment is more than 5% increment. So we luas la nafa kunumba jube kan, for example, ni ya bone from ni lafte la luas o bona 3,000 kasama 4,000 ni 5% long be $150 de la ka. So sai abe même sembo mo wara be luas le bon kono abe de mala ka nundo amari sa fo be wuli kin la la je ba sa to fono le as men keno maximum as men la no je is $150 kolon 5% oto luas la wala na fam wotile anu nafa do fanan be semen tawaye je kar ni aje mo bitala luas la dinkrato bon rana di may tareje ama symbol so bo mo yene ngane fa la dinkrato bra amole soto no follow so abe luas la blado oto nafa do fanan men bije wala nyinti ko ka jube dron it ko to lafti ni la fe buntiol ni la fanzul fe rolom il a fait bon la bunkono ça va encore ha fundina bunkono karna la kadum be renovation la ken ba lo ko hani ita fundina no be kar sabana de solo di la ni daf def fundina la bunkono say be ni januar kono be no do sabale di na so not bum fundula ko da wa la april ko so wo fana mun na fa dole luas la kat clean isi bundo ni no nyasuma kono atika haraba wona fun kana la fun la bungono ibo khata do ñu do kala ñame ani ibo ko do men dajale ñoko kala ñawo si batal ani fa ni ete fun lo bun sifa ko lefta tala bundo ko me ya lonko o bumbe 7,000 nundo ko foy dal si wuli mo nin kili ñini wara dal si wuli tan nan fula ñini pour ni tala bun ko do dina ma fa kar woro na defo jani be dun so ñi lo ko hani ate o keno la so baye la ko yor ba fa resle kay ida hanni ni tata wuli woro bungono wala wuli lulu bungono be wuli lulu da man ñini na pour éviter bundo men ko ci ben jola o fana mun na fa dolde me alonko asa dino mola me alonka be luaso la so bari ni na da fana bunto fana ngana fa don fana foye jele ko loi ko ni dunda mola bungono be bunyi to la ay mutako idunda je nyaama ni be funda ya ay targo nyaama o fana way fana coordinateur fana so demaro fana so wala ngeen ko loi be karaflo ni bele jude bara sembo wata mo la men yalon ko wolle be loi so joka so ni nafa dandal bi jel me yalon ko abe moye me yalon ko im loi sala
ko akumara watu tata bake katabe diari but time be minkelan sina final thoughts no kono to dia Nuha kula mimbe dending na kacha kungola especially na lundango me yalon ga manke lundan dijang although ana jati la bijan Salif Musa bijin gol di madi malum fa yalla ma dele jati
no manke sabi
Salif Musa gudang gol Salif Mane sugudang gol
Okay.
Yes, so final thoughts kono to dia jannem bida
well même for la dong
jannem bida honorable madu ngana Nuha ya ko ha no
we know ale okay alright
abaraka Mustafa ñing bilo ñing akumata bakele ni aje nga akumata ndolbe nga luaso kele andu luaso kole ata bak tumando kuma kumfa dulato mbeso je sono mem fana la je wolem ñinti luaso la lafañe men sa tinna la koratiol kana ila luaso la fa samosan andum fana ni ba la fa la samosan ñi ñanta tarla bilo kono ko ila lafaro kana tambi the rate of inflation la bawo marchandise da la fata menna ni luaso fana ila luas korda o muy fana la marchandise le fana la da la fa manyen na tambila marchandise bela da la fa so ni actually 5% ko na ba la fa la kana tambi 5% la bari increase in inflation kata 1% o be luas la hanbi abe nasindi la bawo e be kodomel landi la pour ka domoro kala o kalkilum be bina tala luaso la lafañi ne to ning atra korda tiyo be luaso la fala ntela miroto a lafañi manyen na tambila above the rate of increase in inflation year on year ibajela ase korda tiyo makoy no bawo fanala aka kodinno men soto ya kala dimbal balondi wala so o dimbal kabalu fengol minna wol fengol le fanal da la fata 5% misal fe woto na fana be korda luaso nyin la fala sa la fa 5% la isaja se increase in the cost of living as a neutralize no ala family level in at rent ni increase to 5% but marchandise da la fata only 2% abe membe luaso la ba mari batan la ba kala ba jala ko marchandise da la fata 2% luaso la fata 5% additional burden on the tenants. So ofana nyanta kala kuleti mi alon ko honorable mbedan la ise alse juber ke o luasela la karola pour que ma ko ya fa nyami nyokana so kana nyofa bar wato dol so la ka jambando so to nyoti akati na nyoka fa so men satin na kana keno ali ajibita circumstances be nyami sign ten ko salfia korda tielu wala sembo wata bake luas lalti so nte luas lalla ko kambara fa bak and mando maybe wala atina I'm thinking na miro be kata be luas lal ma ko no la nyaadi la bar butu ngaaje ko asike mo jama gambia banko kan e fanal la miro be tarlo ma fa wala se sembentawol ma ko no nyaadi le pour sembetiol kana e sembo la sembentawol kan so kamala drom se microphone o murundi ke jayi ke tentu nyimpilo nyinga commence ndela miro to da is way overdue. Anyanta kuni nyanta kashala juna la baributu. It's never late to do the right thing. Ebe menke kan kukendo la mabaraka ba.
Sal, honorable Sal.
Yo, abaraka bake Mustafa, abaraka bake Nuha, abaraka bake Honorable Sise. Ila nying rent, big social issue. Anunte, I'm very pleased ko, your foresight totally about it. You are committed to it. You some passion and compassion already because Bill Mintada through first and second sittings is very promising. But all along, we come from social justice. Ndolka wole bindi all the time. Nimbe kashala health kashala nka wole support. Dami yalonko fairness bije dami yalonko the weak are being looked after, the poor are being looked after, the vulnerable are being looked after. So Gambia do mula circumstances katu change. Rani ajibe from age categories mini be renting. I'm guessing you are looking at maybe people who are maybe around 25 katafu 45 mil. Katafu even maybe 50. Dulka renting for 30 years if a rent joker. And ibika any kind of support sort. So I was just thinking, well, not be household, I'll be cool kashala because everyday business to minka more worry. Everyday business to minka families affect. So you can talk about social policy. Me alonka be housing address la. So that more me alonko they are not fortunate to have their own houses. Also social housing encourage where if a house is built, the criteria would be for the poor only. Many alonko be employment labor. They are not, for example, take an example not earning more than let's say 20,000 or 30,000 per month. Osifal through social policy, social housing, many be long-term housing needs all address la. Number will be important. And so government found interest show. I balafa so an intimidadia so in those areas. Abe mol makoila back. So it took you a long time to kind of put this on paper. And I'm happy that the colleagues be support can. And many along we are talking from social justice. Be support la kandekai. Bari anisang nalbe jibero lade. Jibero I finjang tenant lama fong la back. Yo ala baraka la moira la jibero lalu Mustafa the moderator ala baraka.
Ini baraba ke sal honorable manale kang mo be ngeso jandi binale kang ngeso dolka mira because nyimo banku do kolde ndenga mira je na observation do nga fayla nga la fayta kang no hay mira aya fayla la fa kang sale mira aya fayla la fa kang bari saya batule telebul meje penebe bule be safer la de yalo yetti timina dia mala tol ka fo nyaade les honorable timina dia malum fo yo ne yo man ni ka ka mo la
ha timina dia la
so ni yo mela fele timina dia ke ja ye point zol min fundi da ye wol safe at least surtout fanna member ko yanko mada bake honorable ikamin foko legal aid malo lunja mala minala yamma ko jeto nak because wo amukule ti mialo nimi lafta the court system Tesla fo afankole nyanta tarale bul barka fo dra samba code wo fanna jamale ba jola jor kodo iba bala muntole aning wo fanna lafte o jibem fe bake honorable so wo mo kule mi ala insula bake ay kumata bake le because ni wonte aba folo ko ngonde ba mira gamba min do mala fango walla mba min joni de kana kudo lanye wo kan mi ala ko so wala na dobi je because dulale buka taraje so modol ka keresiban wala tilimbala ke molla they do get away with it because of dulati je deme ala ba folo ko fasaro ba bal no janne do pour kam mol nyaaji vitamine be kolea ko so wo mo kule di mi ala ko ni be nyin sifal kala wo fanam pour ka wollon ni karala pour ka foko yo anyina kala taja jambe mako la pour ye fam bono nyin kon ngamro wo fanam abe ko malal nen isa inculcate no wala la put into consideration and then the final talks is all for nyamari
baraka bake to dalo imanje safela but ko nga fa nyame alla bi programme namra lentre de ma katam mo boyla because maneni Nuha point to always ni res ko well it's good because you know nyim amang kum fa follow so tunkum klinde tunkum me alonko ni ideas dum no jel so section 13 natle ni legal aid kunal nati ani the increment like 5% na kon sa jube ngani inflation no jube ni mu fende men alonko the kataga ne ngemutale the kataga banda do ni be safelale kala ni bita down to the committee of the whole house Nina the area of legal aid me lahido mentale janni next Saturday ka monati me alanko wala mu chairperson overseeing that, and that is no other person other than Nene Cham. It's a lawyer. In fact, all along I can bring stuff on 2, 3, 4 months back janni budget. And I've been can be control committee matter la legal aid kunya so ba fene ko dukare alakata fo in the budget line so no kan ko so no minister so no ala inde ma budget line create in sa ya lon ko la ko I think it's about can how many millions of but will be to la budget line so mba trial le they am about your program and then it will be your wish pronounce so no next program to as he doing legal aid economic he's a lawyer by profession so at about from fancy no na wole be senala kataminte but him fanang commissaire ni mol be la case sambala rent tribunal to be men jola I will no other taking time I will find out that in Narajan next Saturday inshallah I will clear those points but after the amukum fada wolom kabirim beduna ngal tar kacha kono nga mane tare be budget fula ani use no la demand barrier tamo tije bare kuma klindo na fula dom maybe ni nada ko den si kacha kono fonundi nyim budgeto ni aje tuste keno laje sa wosan molka menjo in debt services nyinanta is over $7 billion so fembo kata development ngata rebe use the focus not only youth even development sectors other sectors coordinate je me alon ko is substantial men sa tano development sector koloni debt service la be kunu anu nimma julo tala julo ben count ben kunu na le so nimma ta banko tano dauda and it needs a committed government me alon ko be sacrifice la with some expenditures kumoto jamfono la bayri programme banda bari inshallah ni alliance on nim benda wati ko ten just kono fono bunda do la men ko ala baraka baake sewta baake pour que ma la platform
baraka thank you so much appreciate your time ala baraka thank you so thank you
area $2 million is allocated 2024 Madam Fade na kuma wale
no say that again
Anga just for information, 2024, $2 million is allocated for legal aid.
$2 million.
$2 million. Okay.
On the budget, child protection, access to child justice, and legal aid. $2 million.
Wow.
Okay.
No. Ila Konosia Road. Maybe this is a portion of something else. But anyway, I will look at the budget.
Legal aid it will fall recurrent expenditure on training. This is just for legal aid and access to child justice.
But ila budget be lump sum, I think it's 6 million.
That would be, but access to child justice and legal aid alone.
Oh, child justice number.
Okay. Yeah.
Child justice number. Okay. But the lump sum is 6 million.
Okay.
Yeah,
but in any case, this is the first time they have their own budget line. So at least they have somewhere to start. Sign. Ite minister kono ka fa dina warande yeta ya fa dina fa hani ten because Nico is for subvented institution. Ite jamale be ministry koto. So bukalu kono jolo mu telephone tat. Sign ita ni tandila.
Yeah. Okay.
Akumara. So, Nisa established now with the Fenco charm. I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
By by Monday or Tuesday, I will text you something.
Monday Christmas. Well,
but I can talk to her.
Okay.
I don't need to talk to her. I just talk to her, get her conviction that are you willing to do this? Now, yes, no, I give you something.
No problem. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Almanke
Maloko bunyuru kolo Christian olet.
Hey, Kana.
Baraka.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, cheers. All right, thank you. Yeah, brum lamalani jiberal mobe dawda ani be watu to inonna lokum civic education program o min kasoro jang kapana Skype or radio and TV services. Program yin kana CBT like kabo talan lulu UK time akana wala fo talan wala bari tadir kita domani kacha diata fanam bake wala nanko nada from almost 37 minutes into it. Bari woka mala mon min baby jam be tentulam be jela min be lamoro ni gibero la mon min program o nyim financial pour lokum ko den nyong gambian on se benjan damal nga kacha kula mimo banko la nafati banko la sula kulti no mol be tentulam be jela budum wato insani na lambe dan na janne fosibit na la inshallah kabra Skype or radio and TV services on al bari malo Mustafa jamme mi be sirin program o kunna fot sibit na la inshallah alimbara.